Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we discuss all the latest in pop culture news, entertainment news, gaming news, and just everything that's happening in the world in a nice, pleasant conversation. I'm Price of Reason, and with me is also, as usual, my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Going all right. I had a little Amber Heard situation here. My audio interface crapped the bed, but that's okay. I was able to get things cleaned up, and we're back
What
on
type of
track.
situation did you have? I didn't hear you for a second.
Amber Heard.
That's what I thought you said. You had an Amber Heard situation in
Yep.
your home?
My audio interface crapped the bed.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Because I suddenly didn't hear you for a second, and it's like I heard you had an Amber Heard situation, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I must have not heard that correctly. But
Yeah.
thankfully, it's just a
We're good.
microphone, and
We're good. We're good.
wasn't anything else.
No. There was no other. No. I mean, I've had my cats do that, but not recently. So.
Marla Sharndorf says, "Do you sign petitions? My family and I are being cyberbullied by a crazy jerk, so I made a petition to get him off the internet. And it needs a lot of signatures. If you can, I'm trying to think, how would one find this if I wanted a little more info on it?
You can you can maybe put it in there, kind of disguise the link a little bit so that so it doesn't get blocked.
You know what?
We could send it on Twitter, on X, to
I
one of
know
those
what to do. I'm gonna give you my how do I do this? Let me think about it, Marla. But
Yep.
I'd love to hear more about what you're saying. Of course, Marla comes from a really solid family. A lot of people know her sister, who's in the entertainment industry, and if somebody's bothering them, that's something that I'd want to know about.
Yeah, cyberbullying is that's BS. Nobody needs to put up with that.
For sure. But in any case, I guess hopefully, aside from that, people are doing okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and even today we're going to talk about situations where people are sort of cyberbullying in a way, and
Drones zipping around the state of New Jersey. Have you seen any drones out
you know
your
what?
way?
I'm actually in the area, and I didn't see them, but a lot of people have seen them, and yeah,
There's all
I
these drones whipping around everywhere, doing
and
wild
nobody knows
wild
where they came
stuff.
from.
And the government came out today. Well, somebody came out today and said that they're totally legal manned aircraft. And
Ah,
I call BS on that. I'm sorry, but those are not manned aircraft, and they're not legal because they're zipping and flying around in areas where you're not supposed to have drones. They're flying
it
around like airports and stuff.
it does seem rather fishy. If I had to guess, it's either something that the authorities do know about because it's something that's being done by them, or it's something that they are not in control of, don't know how to stop it, and in order to avoid egg on their face, are not admitting anything, even though there's something very fishy about it.
Yeah. Well, let's just remember this, spy balloon that they
Right,
just
the
let
stupid
fly
balloon.
right over the damn United States from one end to the other. Yeah. They
Yeah,
they either don't know what it is, or they do know what it is, but they don't wanna tell anybody. So, yeah. It seems real ridiculous that people are out there. I mean, people have been like flying their own personal drones up there trying to like encounter them, and they're not able to. So, but part of that is because, of course, if they are flying around airports, probably legal drones are flying up into those areas, and they can't fly there because there are no fly zones. And so, the larger drones that would fly in those areas will have a governor, a GPS thing that'll shut them down. So yeah, it's just so weird. It's just like the weirdest thing in the news today. Oh, there's crazy drones flying around. So weird. So weird.
yeah, definitely. And I suggested to Marla here, in this case, because she wanted to talk about something that's happening with her family, and I want to try to help if I can. I asked that she follow me on Twitter. So I sent a message. I don't know if she saw it,
So
but Hopefully X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I think X is cooler than Twitter, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard to
There's the
break the habit.
history there with, with
Yeah, it's hard to break the habit and calling it X now and not Twitter.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. I guess one thing is interesting though, and that's our kind of in our thumbnail. It's that Donald Trump was selected by Time Magazine to be Person of the Year. It doesn't mean that they like him, but I guess they managed. Even they had to acknowledge that he was Person of the Year. Initially, I thought that there were rumors that they wanted to give it to Kamala Harris, and I'm so surprised because why would they give it to her?
Oh yeah. You're going to be the person of the year because you did what? You lost pretty badly too. Yeah.
Right. So exactly. I mean, the thing is that I can't think of, and it doesn't matter if you like him or not. I can't think of a more person of the year than Trump in the sense that he he did his comeback campaign. There was an attempt on his life. He somehow did his whole thing and he won every
Yeah.
single aspect, like the
Yeah.
popular vote, like the electoral college,
Well, they
popular.
don't have a problem with putting people up there they don't like. It's let's remember that in 1938 was Mustache Man,
Right. And I think
and
once it
then
was also, it
a
was
couple times it was the other Mustache Man from Russia.
right, and they also had, I think once, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they gave it to the guy with the twin tower thing.
Oh yeah.
I thought they did, or at least they wanted to. Maybe at the end they didn't, but trust me, they don't care. They'll give it to even if it's like the worst person ever. They'll give it to him.
Oh yeah, they gave it to Greta Thunberg, so
I still think that they wanted to give it to Kamala in this case because even their thing has become, I don't, for lack of a better word, even their choosing the person of the year has probably become woke. Like, probably initially they wanted to give it to Kamala Harris because they're thinking to themselves, what, we're going to give it to Trump? Trump's going to say, Trump's not going to look at it and say, like, oh, like, they give it to tyrants too. They'll just go and say like, "This is huge. I'm the Time Person of the Year," and like I think they just didn't want that, and they're like, "Who else can we give it to? Anybody else?" And then I guess even in their stupid offices, somebody said, "No, you can't. You have to give it to the real person."
yeah. Someone said they gave it to uh, uh Bin Laden. I don't think they
That's
gave
what
it
I
to
was
Bin
saying.
Laden.
I said the because of the twin
Yeah.
tower guy. That's why I was trying
No,
to.
I don't think they did. Oh,
Okay,
here, I've got the list here.
I'll tell you what I remember. I think that they had already announced it or they were planning on giving it to him, but the backlash was so strong that they kind of like, they backed off and they said,
Could be,
"No, no,
could be.
we didn't really mean it." But I vaguely remember that there was some kind of controversy.
Yeah. Yeah, in 2001, it was Rudy Giuliani.
They wanted it,
So,
trust me. It's like the same thing now with Kamala. They wanted it to be like the Bin Laden guy, but then some people are like, "Come on, you're not really going to give him the thing." And they're like, "Fine, we'll give it to Rudy Giuliani."
yep. Who knows?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I would bet anything they had plans for putting Kamala Harris on that cover
Right, and these days,
because they expected her to win. They absolutely did, and a lot of people did,
they did a
especially in the
lot of.
media.
I wonder to myself, did they really think that, or were they just kind of just fooling themselves? There wasn't one person there that wasn't like a complete dum dum. There wasn't one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't know for sure. A lot of the reasons that I actually didn't know is because I was seeing two different narratives. I mean, I was seeing what people were talking about on X, which seemed like she was going to lose. But then when you looked at the mainstream media, they were so confident with all of their polls and stuff. I was hesitant to say because they lobbied so hard with all of their narratives. I thought maybe it's a closer race than it was. I didn't think that he couldn't win, but I thought it was a closer race than it was. And once the election night came, it turned out that they were just blowing smoke.
Yeah. I
All
think a lot of people in the pocket, like really insiders with the party knew that she had a very slim chance of winning. I think there were quite a few people inside the Democratic Party that knew that her polling was very bad. obviously, you got a couple of big name newspapers, big name publications that said we're not going to endorse anyone this year. That's wild, right? They had to have known her chances of winning were next to nothing
You know who
when
seems
they
to have
chose
known?
to
You
do
know
that.
who seems to have known? I feel like Obama knew because
Oh yeah,
the
he would have been inside knowing their internal polling. I think he probably knew.
you could tell as they were getting closer to the election day, all those kind of like mainstream media weirdos, they're all smiling and whatever. But every time you see Obama, he looked really worried. Like and the fact that he's like, come on, the brothers, some brothers, they don't want to vote for her. You got to do the right thing. The brothers got to vote for her. And like, I don't know, the way he said it and how he was like, it almost seemed desperate. Like,
Yeah.
there was something about him trying to like say that black men don't want to vote for her that almost seemed desperate. And then the fact that he started kind of adopting these type of narratives that were pushed in the media about Trump, some of them that weren't even true. And I say that objectively. I say this many times. I'm not the most political. I'm sort of middle of the road. There was a lot of nonsense that Obama started speaking at these rallies. He seemed very stressed. He didn't seem his usual cool and composed, suave self because I think he knew this wasn't in the bag. And for me, he was actually one of the signs that I looked at and I'm like, man, this guy is really stressed.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
also, I think for a long time, he had this kind of like, aura around him. Like he's Obama and he's talking and like everybody's like, wow. But I feel like that kind of aura faded. Suddenly he's going out and talking and saying all this stuff about Harris and nobody cares.
Mm. Yeah.
That's
No,
what it felt
I
like to me. I mean, I can
yeah.
only give my interpretation.
Yeah. I think a lot of people inside knew she was not the best possible candidate. But remember, if they had chosen anyone but her, they would have had a ton of money that was donated to that campaign that they would not have had easy access to. And boy, did
Right.
they need that money.
They
I
needed the
mean,
money,
they
but
spent like crazy.
it didn't even help them. I mean,
Nope.
that just goes to show you that you could have all the money in the world, but if your candidate isn't very good, then all the money in the world may not help you. They
Yeah.
really tried to make her a thing. It's like how the Mean Girls when they're like, "Oh, stop trying to make that a thing." They really tried to
Mhm.
make Kamala Harris a thing. They're like, "We got a
Yep.
billion, I don't know, at least a billion of 1.5 billion, whatever it was." They're like, "That's enough. We'll just tell everybody she's the greatest thing that ever happened." And it didn't work.
Nope. And
You
and
know,
and trying to guilt everybody, "Oh, you're a racist if you don't vote for her. You're a misogynist if you don't vote for her.
the
You're an Islamophobe if you don't vote for her." And it's like, "Nope, it we're not buying it anymore.
they tried
She's not a good
so many
candidate."
maneuvers.
Yeah. They tried a lot. But yeah, so we got Donald Trump now, the Time Person of the Year. Of course, that's kind of an honor. I don't think I'm particularly surprised to see that it's him, but it's kind of an honor to be the Person of the Year. And he
I
got a
guess.
very lengthy interview with Time as part of that the Person of the Year issue, and he talked about a handful of different things. Did you see some of the different quotes
I
and stuff
didn't
that he was
actually. I
talking about?
didn't. I just saw that he was
Yeah.
selected, and I actually didn't. What can you give us some of the
No,
quotes?
there's I mean, he talked about a lot of different things in that interview, but there's a few highlights specifically. He was asked very directly about inflation and bringing down prices, and of course he said, uh, basically, we well here's a quote here from Trump. He says, we had the inflation. Democrats lost on inflation. They lost on immigration. They lost on as part of immigration. I think a very big part is the border itself. If you can subdivide the word immigration, they lost on the economy, but it was a different kind of. It was the economy as it pertains to groceries and small things that are actually big things for a family. And they said, if the prices of groceries don't come down, will your presidency be a failure? And he said, I don't think so. Look, they got them up. I'd like to bring them down. It's once you've dealt with that inflation, it's extremely hard to try to bring all those prices back down because it's just sort of built into the system now. But he says it's hard to bring things down once they're up. It's very hard, but I think that they will. I think that energy is going to bring them down, and that's actually really insightful. If you can lower energy prices, that will very quickly affect things. But I think they will. I think that energy is going to bring them down. I think a better supply chain is going to bring them down. The supply chain is broken; it's still broken. So, yeah, he
Yeah.
was talking specifically about that. I think that's a big point that he wants to get through to people. Like, yes, inflation is a big deal. We see it as a big deal. We're not gonna laugh it off like the Democrats try to do, right? Oh, we've got the greatest economy in forever. Look how great the stock market is. Day-to-day people just trying to fill their bellies, just trying to make sure they've got enough gas in their car to get from home to work and back, don't care about the stock market. Right. They care about being able to buy groceries, they put gas in their tank, get to work, take care of their kids, take care of those everyday things that they need to take care of. So the whole the that whole argument that we had this strong economy was always a non-starter, I think, on the Democrat side during the election. He also said that he would be considering a pardon for January 6th defendants. So, but he claims it would just be on a case by case basis. He says we're going to look at each individual case and we're going to do it very quickly. It's going to start in the first hour I get into office. A vast majority of them should not be in jail. So, yeah, I'm not surprised there. I think it's interesting that he says it's going to be a case by case thing because he could just issue a blanket pardon since
He could, but the thing
yeah,
is that if there's certain ones that maybe did something violent or something like
yes.
that, I
Yeah,
guess he's just reserving the right. That's probably what he's doing.
absolutely. Yeah. And honestly, I think if you want to criticize what's been going on with the pardons for Biden, stuff that he's been doing, I think he pardoned some 1,500 people, pardoned and commuted sentences for like 1,500 people like
Yeah,
yesterday.
Biden's just sitting around pardoning all day and all night. I think at this point,
Not
whatever Trump does, I
Yeah,
don't think he's.
not to say that all the pardons that he put out there were not justified. I mean, there were quite a few of those that were like people who were serving jail time for offenses that are no longer illegal, right? So like drug possession in a state that's made weed legal, stuff like that. So I'm not saying all of them that necessarily were out of line, but that's a crazy amount of releases and yeah, say Mark's 47 has it there. They weren't all pardons. They were releases and commutations. So people they're not pardoned of the crime, but they're letting them out of jail. They're letting them uh, letting them off with the time that they've served. But yeah, I think it's wise for Trump to say, yeah, we're gonna look at these on a case by case basis. We're not gonna just open it up for everybody and just say everyone gets off, right? Uh, so yeah, because again, there are some people who were part of January 6th that they're in there because they did have violent offenses, and some of them even after the case, like we're attacking, like officers of the court, stuff like that. So clearly, those people, though they are dangerous, right? But some of the people that are getting, or been in jail, they face sentences, whatever, because they went into the building and they've been identified as being there in the building. Like some of those are real fishy as to
Yeah.
the massive sentences that they've
I
gotten.
mean, when you look at all the footage, and especially a lot that they only later saw, some people just seem to be walking around there, and it's almost like other people let them in, and they were just kind of walking, just normally. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there were people that did cause problems. There also seemed to be people that weren't causing problems.
Yeah.
And how many were? arrested and what each of them did. I myself, I'm not an expert. I don't really know what each of them did.
Yeah, and I don't either. I again, I hope that that's what they're looking at very specifically. They're saying, all right, these are people. Their charges are literally just that they were in the building when they shouldn't
Right.
have
I'm
been in the
saying that if
building.
there's somebody that was just in the building standing there and not doing anything bad to anybody, then I don't think that they deserve, even if let's say somebody hassled them or they would, were arrested, whatever it is. I don't think that now their whole lives, people should bother them because they were, they're just standing there doing nothing. And there were people like that. So in that sense, I tend to agree. If there's somebody that like actually did something more violent or something like that, I guess it's another story, and probably that's why he said case by case. I understand it. If you don't say that, if there's suddenly an exception or something that you don't really know what to do with, then it's as if you promised and you didn't deliver.
Yeah.
So,
Let's
but
see.
yeah, no, but it's interesting, and also interesting that you brought up this Biden pardoning, because it just seemed like a whole lot of people. Does he always? Is it always common to pardon so many people?
I'd have to look back at some of the records. The big, swaths of pardons and commutations, stuff like that, are actually pretty common in the modern presidencies. A lot of them, various ones that have been sort of lobbied for by different senators or stuff for people in their states. Uh, there's been a handful that have been, basically they're if they're facing sort of, massive federal sentences and stuff for certain types of crimes. Maybe they're allowed, to get off with time served or whatever. It's fairly common. I don't actually know the numbers, but especially when a president is leaving office, it's pretty common to see it. So
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I
yeah,
mean, I don't want to overread it if like every
yeah,
president does it, but I think that out of all the pardons, the one with Hunter Biden was the fishy
yeah,
one. I mean, that other one maybe is just more common. As for people that have those kind of, they had weed and got arrested, I kind of feel bad for people like that. Uh, I think it took the U.S. Uh, government or the U.S. in general way too long to decriminalize weed. I think that they insisted that that's considered like a crime, that they insisted on that for so many decades is just dumb.
yeah. I don't have any particular feeling one way or the other on legalizing or not weed. It's I'm not interested in it, but
No, I understand. I understand. I
you
mean, listen, at this point in my life, it's not like I'm sitting around and it's like at the top of my list
yeah,
of to do things. But I'm just saying that in general, people are, not even just young people. There's some people that for them, rather than let's say drinking a beer, that's an alternative to
yeah,
them that actually in some ways some it could be seen as a bit more healthy. I know that's weird, but it actually, drinking a lot, if you drink like a ton of alcohol all day and all night, you're probably going to do more damage to your health than if from time to time you do the other thing. So and in any case, people should have the choice. I mean, I don't think this was a situation that people needed their lives ruined because of it.
no,
And there were so many places already outside the US that understood this and move to legalize. I really feel that it took a very long time in the U.S. And look, there's certain places that did it. I don't think that changed something significant one way or another.
yeah, yeah,
And I'll tell you why. And that's the final thing is that for so many years, I'd say since like the '60s or something, if somebody got up one day and said, "Hey, I like weed, I want to smoke," or whatever it is, within probably 30 minutes, that person, whoever that person is, could probably make a few calls and make it happen.
yeah,
Meaning, how h how good how do I explain this? How are you enforcing a law if anybody at any age, in any place, can wake up and 30 minutes later, you can, like, if you wanted to smoke, you can smoke.
mhm,
So at that point, you just have to say, "You know what? There's a supply and demand thing going on here that's so great that we simply can't control it." And at the end, it's just like, oh, well, if we did it proper, we could, have more quality control, and also there'd be taxes on it, and we'd be making money instead of.
yeah. Yeah.
It also it's not good because when something is not allowed, you're inviting more crime and things like that.
Yeah.
This was something stupid that just had a bunch of very, in my opinion, very stubborn people, and it should these laws should have been changed a very long time ago. And I do agree with you. The ones that are sitting in jail because they got caught a few times or whatever it is, that is really you know
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't
And
even think that they should have been there to begin with, really.
yeah. If it's gonna be taxed and regulated like alcohol, generally, that's gonna be fine. That's gonna be, good enough, if as long as, there's rules about who's allowed to be in possession of it and when, and there's rules for, if you're, contributing to delinquents of minors by giving it to, stuff like that, right? The same kind of rules and laws that we have around alcohol. If you were to enforce it in that way, I think in general, very few people are gonna have a major problem with it. So many states have already opened up, recreational marijuana, and again, I don't know that I have that much of a problem with it. I will say one thing is that we know from some of the states that have legalized it that it does not stop the criminal enterprise, because if it is taxed and regulated, there's going to be criminals who are going to try and bring it in for cheaper, unregulated, and take advantage of that. So
Right, but I will say this. If you're now, let's say prior to all these kind of decriminalization and legalizing and all that stuff, there were certain places that if you woke up in the morning and you were a person that wanted that kind of thing, you'd have to start making calls. And eventually you may have to connect with people that are more kind of shady, even,
yeah,
and there would be that aspect of it. Now, any person that gets up and wants it, they could, if they want to get a better deal or maybe cheaper, they could go to the shady person, but they can also just go to a store and say, "Here, I want to buy that," and then walk out.
yeah,
So I guess what I'm saying is there is an option for people that may not have wanted to deal with kind of shady characters, and they can just do everything on the up and up, and they don't have to deal with all this crap. Maybe it doesn't eliminate the crap, but I think it at least gives some people an option.
yeah, yeah. Let's see, what were some other things here that were mentioned in this interview? It was a lengthy interview, quite long, but looking just for a few highlights here. So they did ask him about nominating Matt Gates for what was he for? He was for
Attorney General, I
Attorney
think he wanted
General.
him,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Attorney General. Um, and of course, he's already withdrawn his name from consideration. But they asked him about it, and basically he said, "Well, uh, the there was kind of some pushback from the Senate. Whatever, he didn't have the votes that he needed, but it was going to be real hard. It was going to be something that was going to be a distraction. I think." There were a lot of people who were going to be no's, that they were going to have to, massage some votes, work some things out. And so it just, he basically says, I didn't give up on Gates. I talked to him about it, told him this was going to be a tough fight, and I didn't think it was worth it. And so Gates agreed and decided to withdraw. So I think they realized that getting that nomination through probably could happen, but it was going to be a fight that was just gonna be more of a distraction from, Trump trying to get stuff done. Uh, you know, yeah, he would own the libs on that one, but maybe this time around, he's gonna be less focused on owning the libs and a little bit more focused on actually, like, accomplishing some stuff.
Yeah,
So
but meanwhile, I was telling you this last time and the last few times is that Joe Biden seems to just sit around now. Maybe it's also his handlers, and everything they could do to sabotage what Trump intends to do, they seem really, really laser focused on that.
oh, yeah,
And
yeah. Well, there was an announcement, it was today or yesterday,
with the
where they were
materials,
they were talking all about that all of the economic accomplishments that the Biden administration has had, and how they're giving sort of direction to Trump and his cabinet to how, don't undo. We're going to wag our fingers at you. Don't undo some of the economic, quote unquote, progress that we've made in the last few years. It's
Yeah, a bunch of nonsense. No,
absurd.
but what I saw today was even crazier. It was something that apparently Biden is in a rush to sell all the materials that Trump had that he wanted to build a wall.
Oh,
So
yes.
so before he gets into office, they want to sell all the things so that he won't be able to build a wall. That also, I was telling you, there was something with Bitcoin that he wanted to buy to have
Yeah.
like a reserve of Bitcoin. So the U.S., because of something that happened years ago, they had actually like you know, from the Silk Road incident, whatever that was, they actually had Bitcoin, but because they thought that Trump likes it, they wanted to sell it. I don't know if they did or not. They were looking to sell it because he said he wanted it. The materials for the border, they want to sell it because he wants that. They also did the thing with like Russia and Putin and all this stuff. It's like I don't know. I'm asking you seriously. I don't remember in the past that there was such an eager interest to ruin everything that the next president wants to do. I don't know if I've ever seen it as blunt as what I'm seeing now, but
No,
maybe
no,
I'm
I
wrong.
don't think it's been this blatant, but here's a great, you mentioned wanting that they wanna sell off all of these bits of the border, selling off huge panels of the border wall starting at $5 bids. They're trying to sell all this stuff off, so this is great. This just happened, like, an hour or so ago. I'll share this with you. Oh, you'll have to put it in presentation there to show it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Um, so he says Biden wants to sell off the wall. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says, "Okay, we'll buy it."
This is
He says, "I'm not kidding. As soon as we find out where to put our bids, we're going to buy up all of these parts of the wall and we're going to give it to the Trump administration."
And I bet you that the next thing they're gonna just sell it now, like, they'll do the InfoWars thing. They'll sell it for like $1 just so that they don't do it. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they had their chance. I also, when it may surprise you, but when Biden was sworn in and they said Biden's the president, my instinct usually in situations like that, I just say, well, I hope for the best. You know what I mean? I don't sit around and saying like I hate him, I hate him, I hope for this, I hope that. I actually hope that things will work out. I wish him that he does well. He had his time. I don't think he did very well, and at this point, he's out, Kamala is out, and Trump's about to be back in there. To sit around and just think, "Oh, how do we ruin everything he wants to do? Let's just like start doing sabotage." That just doesn't feel right to me. I mean, at the end of the day,
It does feel real awkward. Yeah.
they have to have some responsibility towards the American people, and to just think, "Well, we don't like this guy, so let's just ruin everything he's doing," it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, they're trying to shift every penny they can to Ukraine, every piece of material they can get over there. They're trying to do all of this before he takes office. They're just someone in the chat said scorched earth. I don't know if it's quite that bad, but it's close. They're doing everything they can to try and make things a real mess before he comes into office. So yeah,
No, I feel that
it's
they are. I
sabotage. Yeah,
absolutely feel that they're doing that.
yeah. Let's see. Going back to the interview here, Trump did say that he thought that Harris made a mistake in not giving enough interviews. He says, I think that she wouldn't talk to anybody, and it's shown a light on her. In other words, if she would have gone out and just done interviews, I mean, if she has someone comparable to Steve, his communications director, there's got to be somebody comparable would say, "Can you do an interview here, an interview there?" She didn't do anything, and people said, "Is there something wrong with her?" Yeah, that's
Well,
exactly it, right?
well, the
She
truth
was
is,
not out there.
the truth is, she wasn't good at interviews. That's the reason
No.
why they. But if you have a candidate that cannot be interviewed, that's not a good candidate. I understand. I mean, listen, the second they let Biden run, they didn't remove him initially, much earlier on. That they didn't do a proper primary. The second that she became the default, they were in trouble because
Mhm.
she's just not good at interviews. What can you do?
No, she's
She
terrible at it. She's terrible.
terrible. She comes off as strange and awkward, and she doesn't know how to just kind of shoot the breeze. Whereas like Trump, again, say what you want about him. his specialty. You know, I'd say that Obama, what his specialty was, is you give him a podium, he sits there and like stands and speaks, and it sounds very official. Even in different places that he speaks, he knew how to be a little more personal, charismatic, and speak and do all of his stuff. With Trump, though, I think that his main thing is like shooting the breeze. And in our day and age, with like podcasts and things like that, that's really a strength. You know,
Yeah.
people you say, "Oh, meandering." That is exactly what you need to do in those kind of things. He just sits there. Him and Joe Rogan are talking about a bunch of 70 different topics. He's just going from topic to topic. That's his specialty.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kamala doesn't have it. Kamala absolutely was not able to she had chances for interviews and she didn't take them.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh, like they're annoyed that people say that she should have gone on Joe Rogan." She should have gone on Joe Rogan. I mean, if she was capable, maybe she's not capable, but if she was able to and could have a conversation with him, it probably would have helped her.
Empress and M said in the chat, she says, I don't think she can think on her feet. I honestly, I think she probably can. And I also think that although she may have some issues with interviews and public speaking, maybe some anxiety there, I think the real problem is that she could not open up and actually talk about how she really feels about the issues. She could not come out and talk about what she really wants to do or the policies that she really wants in place because she would be so far outside the mainstream that no one would have voted for her.
Right. I mean, it's one
Even
thing. She's
even the
extreme, yeah.
yeah, yeah, even the little policies that she would actually talk about or actually articulate, people looked at it and said, "What? You wanna put price controls on groceries? That that's insanity. No one's That's not how this works." The only thing you're gonna end up with is shortages and starvation. You don't put That's not how this works. Like, uh, I literally think she's so far outside the mainstream, she's so far left that she could not actually come out and have a candid conversation with somebody about it.
Eh,
She has to put everything she's gotta hide it, she's gotta cover it up, she's gotta stick to the talking points. She can't actually open up and actually have a conversation with anyone
n
because people would just be like, "Whoa, what?"
but even people that just wanted to shoot the breeze with her about whatever, she's not capable of doing that at all.
No.
There's certain people, and we always talk about that we're in this age of authenticity. Uh, she comes off as not authentic at all. Anytime, like, you speak with her, she seems like just a bureaucratic politician that somebody fed her some things to say. She doesn't come off as personal. And again, I'm not saying that Trump doesn't maneuver or he doesn't I'm not saying that he's perfect at all, but I'm saying the one thing I'll give him, he sat there one day, Elon Musk is like, "Let's do a chat or space, whatever that was." Trump sat there with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is not a dumb guy. You know what I mean?
No.
Trump sat there for like 2 hours. Elon Musk is just going from topic to topic, and Trump is just talking to him. Uh, to be able to do that, it's worth something. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, in my opinion, I think that Elon Musk has this kind of wisdom, his type of wisdom. I don't know if it's exactly what like Trump.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's like compatible 100% with like Trump's street smart, whatever. But they managed to talk for a few hours, and the fact that they even attempted it, and Trump is just sitting there cool and composed and talking to him about all this stuff, it's a good sign. If nothing else, it shows like he's a good sport. He's able to sit there and do it. Then he went to like a few of these like podcasters that his son told him to go to. A few that even I don't listen to. But in any case, he went from place to place. He talked to people. He was hanging out in all the places. He made it. He gave this impression that he's just this dude that shows up and you can hang out with him. And in our day and age, I think that's worth a lot.
Yeah, Caleb Levine in the chat mentioned her changing her accent all the time, and yeah, that is a telltale of somebody who is a social chameleon. They go into each different situation, and they don't have a central core of a person necessarily that they hold on to everywhere they go as much as some people do. They go into each situation and change who they are and how they act and how they talk and everything based on the other people around them. And so, yeah, that's I think that probably is the case. She's not a what they would refer to as a true to self, type of individual. I think Trump is that. And so that comes across at least in a lot of these different things, a lot of these different interviews, talks with Joe Rogan or whatever, because he's just able to be himself. He's not trying to change his message, adjust who he is to every little situation around him.
No, he's just like
Sh-
him. He
He's
doesn't
himself.
care. He went from place to place. He's like saying whatever he feels like saying, and then he just moves
Yeah,
on.
yeah. And a lot of people who tend to be extroverted are tend to be sort of social chameleons, but they're not always aligned with each other. There's plenty of people who are extroverted and they are true to self type of people, and then you get a Donald Trump, right? You get somebody who's just like doesn't care what your particular opinion of him is. He's still going to talk about what he wants to talk about, and he's still going to hold the same views whether you do or not. And yeah, I think that she's very much a chameleon. She's trying to change the way that she acts and her opinions and everything from one place to another, and it comes across as being highly inauthentic.
Oh wait, we have Senpai 76 Price Professor
Ah,
Konbanwa from Saitama, Japan. No, today I'm not going to make a mistake.
ah,
Senpai is the guy that's the master,
is the
and
senior, yes.
the senior, and the kohai is like the Padawan.
Hmm.
He's like the junior. And by the way, there is a crypto coin called Saitama. I don't know if you knew that.
No. I don't really keep up with all the crypto stuff these days.
Right. I mean, I think it was like one of those like weird meme coins or something. But I remember that one existed. Uh, and Senpai says, "Yep, I'm an old guy."
Oh, and konbanwa means, good evening, so you know.
Oh, what does konnichiwa mean?
Is that good morning, I believe?
I see.
But yeah. Well, welcome, Senpai 76. Glad to have you here again. Good to see you.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Green says Rogan never liked him, and we sat with him for 3 hours. I felt I don't know how he felt prior to the meeting with Rogan, but I feel like Rogan ended up liking him more after that.
Yeah, yeah. I think, that yeah, him just sitting down and just having a nice long chat. I mean, they were there for almost 3.5 hours.
Right. I
He was
mean,
late for a rally, like, across the country.
right. Exactly.
He was
He
planning on.
came, he sat there, he hung out with him. I think that
But I think, honestly, I think Trump recognized 2 things. 1, he was getting a massive audience by spending time talking to Rogan. He was gonna reach a huge audience, way bigger than he was gonna get at that rally. And 2, that that conversation was going really well. Like, he was enjoying himself in that conversation and talking to Rogan and all the different, things that they moved around,
And I do think
talking
that
about,
he
so
turned listen, at the end of the day, Rogan, he offered Kamala the chance. She's like, "You have to fly here, you have to do this, you have to do there, you can only do this, you can only do that." He said, "Hey, Trump, you wanna come here?" Trump arrives there.
just
Trump
popped in. Yeah.
popped in, showed Rogan some respect on his own show. And listen, sometimes that works. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Rogan would sometimes criticize when he's like, "Well, I think this, I think that," and sometimes you think a lot of things until a guy shows up, hangs out with you for a few hours, really talks to you, and like shoots the breeze with you, respects you on your own turf, and leaves. And you could say whatever you want. Somehow, I think that like Rogan appreciated that to whatever extent.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and it was interesting too. I think Rogan was kind of might have been a little surprised that Trump was ready to engage with him on some subjects that were outside of what he would normally talk about, right? He was ready to engage with Rogan about things that Rogan wanted to talk about,
Right, exactly.
not just things that he wanted to talk about. So I think that kind of won him some points too, wanting to just, sit down, shoot the breeze, and talk about some of Rogan's stuff
I
too.
mean, Whalum says Trump is the internet president, but I'll say that initially, I think that the first person that really stepped up when it came to all that stuff was actually Obama.
Mhm.
Obama understood social networks as they were sort of on the rise, and he knew how to like tap into that and use them to his advantage. But I think that, like maybe what we're saying, and maybe it ties into what Whalum just said, is that I think we're at an age that it's not just the social networks; it's that kind of authenticity we always talk about. I don't know if Robert Meyer Burnett once started talking about it,
Yeah.
but that kind of authenticity that in our day and age, I think you don't want all these kind of phony celebrities. You don't want all of these like phony people. You want to feel like you're just sitting and talking to somebody, and you're getting to know him. That there's something more, an authentic connection. Maybe sometimes it's a false authentic connection, but if people can somehow feel it, then you must be doing it correctly. And and I think that Trump, he doesn't really compromise. He says whatever he says, but whoever he is and whatever he does, that's who he is. And I think that he goes from place to place. He acts like himself, and maybe over time, maybe that grew on a few people.
Yep. Yep. And then you also had Vance that was showing up. He was all over the place doing interviews, just left and
Vance
right, and doing them very effectively.
Vance was like, when it comes to VP pick, I think, 10 times better than Walls
Oh,
at
yeah.
least.
Compared to Waltz, he's an epic win.
Right. No, but even without Waltz, I would have said that like Vance was a really, really good choice. But
No,
like
he's an excellent he's an
once you
excellent pick.
saw him like compared to like Waltz, it like even highlighted it even more. Uh,
He's a younger man. He's seen, a lot of different stuff. Comes from a very humble background,
right.
but
He's a young man.
he is
He's a young man
also
with a lot of life experience.
yes, and well, he is very quick on his feet. He's very sharp when it comes to the interviews, and he does not let himself be backed into a corner. He's not gonna sit there and just accept whatever premise the interviewer sets up. You saw some of those interviews where the interviewer was just like, "Yes or no, yes or no, yes or
Yeah,
no,"
the
and
New
he's
York
like,
Times one.
"No,
And
not gonna
even
not gonna no, I'm not gonna
the,
it's a
the,
nuanced issue, I'm not gonna be there," and that takes some cojones in that kind of situation, right? It
for
really does.
sure. You know when I really understood it, because initially when he chose Vance, I said to myself like, this guy. Um, I know it's awful that I was thinking that, but I mean, you think sometimes you get a guy who's like a little more diverse. You can say, well, if you wanted that audience, there's at least somebody that's more diverse or a different one. Sometimes you think about stuff like that in politics. I'm not saying you should have chosen somebody like that's a DEI hire, but I mean from the people that are in his circles and Republicans.
Yeah,
There are women, there are people that are quote unquote of color, whatever you want to call it, that are legitimately like Republicans that are, that are part of that crew that he could have gone for. And I don't think anybody would have said, oh, why are you doing that? But he chose a guy that I don't know that he necessarily seemed like the perfect candidate for a lot of people initially when he said it. But for me, the moment that I thought that he actually made a good choice was when there was that debate. I don't remember where was the debate with Walls. Do you remember? Was that
oh,
who did that? I don't know what it is. Maybe
yeah.
I'm trying to think who it was, but I just know one thing, that they started like, fact checking him and trying to do this like fact check, and he stopped and mopped the floor with them. And then they disconnected
Oh,
his
he
mic
did.
so he would stop embarrassing with them, and he was like talking even though they disconnected the mic, and you could still hear him embarrassing them. And I'm like, this guy is not letting people push him around. I
And
really
you
saw that.
and you still, to this day, I saw it today, somebody using one of the memes from that
The one that like Vance
he
looks at the
gives he
camera.
looks at the camera and gives sort of that sly, like, yeah, yeah, smile.
that
So,
kind of
yeah.
smile. There's so much nonsense around
Oh,
me, and like everybody
yeah,
knows what he's talking about. Because if you saw that debate, it really felt that way. Like it was the perfect.
yeah.
He captured it perfectly. But you know what I'm talking? That those ladies that wouldn't let him talk. What was it?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they were trying to say that the people that were here, they were here legally, and he was trying to explain that basically they came here and said, like, somebody gave them like a form that they just like waived, and then they let them stay here, but the whole process of that is like questionable. And he was explaining it. He
Mhm.
knew the forms, he knew the numbers. Like he made those two ladies look like dumb. I don't know. I don't want to use a bad word. Sorry, Sean, but like dumb bitches. The way he talked, and like they just looked like two idiots.
Yeah,
Maybe it was MSNBC. I don't
yeah,
remember now. There was like two ladies in that debate, and they tried, and he wouldn't let them even a little bit, even a little bit. At the end, it comes off that seem you look at it and you think there's something wrong with them, because he was still talking. There's like trying to quickly disconnect his microphone as he's embarrassing them. I don't know. I thought that at the end they probably made it even worse for themselves.
yeah. No, yeah, they absolutely did. But yeah, yeah, I think Vance was an inspired pick, to be honest. A lot of people weren't sure
I
when they picked him that he
wasn't
was
sure at all.
going to work out well, but I think he and Trump have found a good rhythm together, and I think we've gotten to see that he's one sharp cookie. He's really good in front of the camera. He's good with the interviewers, and he can also just sit down and have a chat with some f words in it with Joe Rogan. Talk about how his grandma that raised him would swear like a sailor.
I
So
still have to watch that Netflix movie. At some point they like made a movie about him for Netflix, and I didn't
yeah,
even get a chance to watch it. Do you ever watch that movie?
no, I have not, and I haven't read the book that he wrote either, the Hillbilly Elegy book.
You know what? I'm kind of curious. Like I should watch. Although you
Yeah.
never know if those movies mean anything, but I'm curious what that movie is. Like I actually should watch it at some point.
Mhm. Let's see. Is there anything else notable from the time, Man of the Year interview? Let's see. He said he was upset and he thought it was totally inappropriate for Project 2025 to get published when it did. And of course, that was something that came up a lot in the campaign. Everyone, trying to accuse him and his group of pushing Project 2025, and of course it also got memed to death. I even posted a few of those of the people saying Project 2025 is going to do all these wild crazy things. So, um
People
the
seem worried about it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, the people, "Oh, Project 2025 is gonna make it, illegal to take vaccines," or, "Project 2025 is gonna deport everyone, of a certain skin color," or whatever, and it was like, none of this is there, and again, his campaign, he says specifically, lots of people were trying to tie his campaign to Project 2025, and he says in the interview, he says, "I don't disagree with everything in Project 2025, but I disagree with some things. I specifically didn't want to read it because it wasn't under my auspices, and I wanted to be able to say that the only way I can say I have nothing to do with this is if I don't read it. I don't want to read it. I read enough about it." He's just basically said, it was not something that I helped put together. It was from a think tank, somewhere else, and it's not gonna be part of my, you know, it's not gonna be part of my administration. Yeah, there's probably some ideas in there that I like, but it's not our idea, and so, no, I'm not that's not my thing. So, that was kind of interesting. Um, Trump was saying that the transformer, issue, especially the issues with, separate bathrooms, is something that's ripping apart our country. So that's interesting. He says, "I don't really want to get into the bathroom issue. It's a small number of people we're talking about. It's ripped apart our country, so they'll have to settle with whatever the law finally agrees on. I'm a big believer in the Supreme Court, and I'm going to go with their rulings. And so far, I think their rulings have been rulings that people are going along with. But we're talking about a very small number of people, but we're talking about it, and it gets massive coverage, and it's just not a lot of people.
You
So,
said that in the Time article?
yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, to be fair, I think that that always has been an issue, just in general, with the Transformers group. That
Yeah.
in general, uh, that's what I often say about like what I recently was using a term that I called, I don't know if there's such a thing, but I said like pop culture real estate. Basically, Transformers have gotten so much pop culture real estate. Now, when you have so much pop culture real estate, you think to yourself, well, I I hope, like, I would hope that 90% of the people of the public are that, or why is this group getting so much of the pop culture real estate? And they've given them a lot, and at the end they're not 90%, they're not 9%, they're 0.0
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
percent.
Very
And
small.
when you're 0.0 something of the population, you can't expect that the whole world is just going to stop and all day talk about your feelings, and every show has to include every single aspect, and every I think that part of all of this diversity and inclusion never takes into consideration that, sometimes there's sort of a majority, and sometimes there's a really small group of people that are of a certain group. I'm not saying that that means you have to be mean to those people, but I'm also saying that you have to be realistic, and you can't do that. Like, everything becomes about them when there's 0.0 something of the population.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a frustrating issue, you know. I understand that there are people who are, adults who have made these decisions. I'm far less concerned with adults than I am with children. But we don't need to get into
Yeah,
that.
I don't know why they wanna
Um,
bother children with this to begin with. That's another
yeah,
issue, and all the
yeah,
propaganda they wanna push on kids, that, people keep getting annoyed at me when I say stuff about Skeleton Crew or those kind of Lucasfilm or Disney things. Every one of those shows has some kind of either hidden or blunt agenda or whatever it is.
yeah. But at the same time, I 100% believe that women deserve to have single sex spaces where they can feel safe. And if say you're going to allow just anyone who self-identifies as a woman, quote unquote, to just walk into those spaces and invade those, I think that I mean I can completely understand women saying, "I no longer feel safe. I no longer feel safe if there is a man wearing a dress who calls himself a woman who happens to be fully intact, who's in my dressing room or in my bathroom or in my what other spaces like locker rooms and stuff, right? That could be traumatizing, especially if you start talking about you got dudes calling themselves women walking into public changing rooms and like the Y or something and stripping down nude in front of kids. Like that's messed up, right? That's not cool. You can't do that. Right? There's gotta be some rules about the whole idea behind self-ID is just delusional. That does not work. It does
I
not
tend
work.
to agree. I tend to agree with you. I
Yeah,
guess, children have to be kept out of this whole thing,
absolutely.
and if you are a grown person, grown up, and you've made your decisions, it's okay. But I also think you shouldn't bother other people. It's just taking up too much time for too many people talking about this, and I really don't know why. You know what? They should make, maybe. I've said this before, and people always explain why it's not possible. They should make an additional bathroom, just right. Like, there's like men,
There's
women, and then
yeah,
miscellaneous. You know what I
there's
mean?
lots of spaces that have those now. They've got unisex bathrooms that can be used by anybody, or they've got private bathrooms that can be used. There's a lot of newer buildings. The problem is in older buildings, right, where they don't have that kind of facility for that. And they can, but you can say, well, this floor just this floor has men's and women's bathrooms. The next floor up is unisex, or not
One
unisex.
floor
There's
is like they, them, and the
yeah,
rest can just be men and
the other one
women.
can be whatever, no ungendered, other bathrooms, whatever.
Or what I
Um,
said, miscellaneous.
yes, miscellaneous. And I think that there's accommodations that can be made there, but yeah, the whole thing behind self ID is just so disturbing and messed up. Just somebody could just decide today that I'm going to identify as a woman, so I can walk into a woman's bathroom, or I can walk into a woman's changing room, locker room, whatever. It is different. If you're talking about more traditionally someone who's a transformer, who actually goes through the process as an adult, and they no longer are equipped in the same way as the opposite sex. That's a little bit different kind of situation, right? And I think we kind of dealt with that historically. Like, someone has a sex change, and they go and they see a judge and say, "Hey, I am no longer this sex. I'm another sex. I've transitioned and had surgery and whatnot." And then you change those records. I don't really have a problem with that in particular, but just the idea that just anybody can just be, oh, I can be whatever I want to be today, and I can just decide as a man, I can just put on a dress and decide to be a woman, and walk into those single sex spaces. I think women deserve to have those spaces and to feel safe, and it's very frustrating. I don't know how we got onto well, yeah, we were talking about the bathrooms thing. Yeah,
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 but because I think that you said he talked about it in the article. I
yeah,
agree with you,
yeah.
but was there anything else interesting
Yeah,
in
there
that
were a few
article?
there were a few other things. He talked about, specifically, they asked him about using the military as part of the deportations that he's planning, and essentially saying, well, hey, there's laws about not allowing, the military to serve as domestic law enforcement. And he essentially says, well, it's not domestic law enforcement. We're being invaded, and so if it's an invasion, then yes, I can use the military to remove these criminals who have come across the border illegally. They're not here under asylum. They're not here. These are people who are simply walking across the border. They're criminals. They need to be removed from our country. And so I will use the military up to whatever the law allows to remove these criminals from our borders. So, uh, you know, I guess we'll see what happens with that. He was asked a lot about Musk, and whether or not he thought he could trust Musk. Is he gonna, don't you think he's just gonna use the position to enrich himself, kind of thing? And he said essentially that he believes that Musk will put country long before his company. And that if he's in charge of Doge, whatever, that he's not going to use that to like deregulate his own company, and then punish other companies or whatever. That he is going to put his country first. So, I guess we'll see. Obviously, everybody has that opportunity to, when they're in a position of power like that, to abuse it. But hopefully that wouldn't be the case.
I mean, I'm hopeful that he already has a lot of money, Musk, and perhaps there will be
Yeah,
you
it's not
know.
like the man needs more money.
Right, exactly, and he has so much that I would hope that he
Yeah.
really would try to do something positive. But yeah, again, all the things that you're saying emphasize again. Maybe some of what Trump says is stuff that people don't like. Maybe some of his policies are things that don't like. But I will say that he kind of consistently says what he wants to do, and that's what interests him. Will he do it? Will he not do it? I don't know, but he's been fairly consistent in the
Mhm.
type of things that he talks about that he wants to do.
Yeah. He's definitely interested in making, some kind of deal in Ukraine. He talked a bit about that, making a deal there, something to, end the conflict over there, and hoping to get some help from various other countries in Europe. Yeah, there's a few other things. They specifically talked about the war in Gaza as well, and saying, yeah, essentially, yes, I do want to end that conflict. However, it's a very complex situation. So, and there's a lot of different entities involved. So, Yeah, there was just a few highlights from what he had to say. I thought it was interesting, like a very long interview, but yeah, that's Donald
They
Trump.
let him talk a lot, and he
Oh
did
yeah,
just
yeah.
that.
Well, again, usually these time the person of the year interviews are actually they're usually pretty lengthy, so that's not that surprising.
No, it's not. But on a lighter tone, uh, I don't know if you saw this, but I guess this Craven the Hunter movie.
Oh no,
Uh,
did you see it?
no, I didn't see it, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying it's probably going to do poorly this weekend, right?
Oh, I would imagine it's gonna be a disaster. Yeah, it right now, I think, I've already seen a couple of people, talk about, the film, some just out of the theater experiences, not full on reviews, but they're not flattering at all. Of course, I would have expected anything good from this. It's from the same people that made, Madam Web, right? If anything,
Right.
it'll be more fun as something to mock than it is an actual enjoyable movie.
I mean, it aims for a weak $15 million opening weekend. That's considered very, very weak. That's very weak. That is like a Madam Web type of opening. Uh, and it's interesting because I don't know if you saw this, but after they've seen all of this tracking and all this stuff, Sony basically has announced that they're no longer doing this kind of Spider-Man villain verse, that a Venom verse, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Basically, they're going to stop with all of this. They have a few Spider-Man projects, and they're only going to focus on them.
Mm. I can't say I'm either shocked or disappointed. None of these movies have been any good. I watched some of the first Venom movie. I guess I just saw today the newest one is out on Amazon or something now. So maybe I'll go back and in an afternoon I'll binge those. But
I, I,
the first one I was not impressed. I did
I'll,
not finish the movie.
I'll tell you what, I think that, like, if you come with low expectations for these Venom movies, there's something to mildly enjoy about them, but, they're certainly not the most memorable. They don't stand out as anything great. Maybe because, like, I think that Tom Hardy did his best with the role, the best he could, and, somehow he does it all right, but those 3 movies aren't very good. I don't hate them, but they're not very good movies. But that's probably like the cream of the crop. Once you start looking at these kind of Craven and Madam Web, they're not even on the level of
Oh,
the
don't
other one.
don't forget Morbius.
Morbius is another embarrassing one. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I couldn't bring myself to watch that one. So I am not a Jared Leto fan. I don't
I like
know.
him less and less over time. I In the
Yeah,
past I didn't necessarily hate him. I thought, oh, he's a pretty decent actor, but then like over time he's just become really weird and annoying. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about him.
He's not Ezra Miller level weird, but
No,
he's
he's
weird.
weird, but he's not Ezra Miller level bad, and I would say he's probably a better actor than Ezra Miller.
Yeah,
Ezra Miller is just bonkers weird, and
he's
it's
just
funny if
bizarre.
after all the rehabilitation, everything they tried to do with all the money they spent on The Flash, you've never heard of Ezra Miller again.
Yeah, and I doubt you will. I think he's probably toast. I don't think anyone in the industry wants anything to do with him.
I mean, for different reasons, but I also think that Rachel Zegler is probably not, going to get a lot more roles. She has her
Yeah.
Snow White one, but I don't see a
Oh
million
boy.
roles that she's cast in.
Yeah, no, after basically what would it be like 5 flops in a row for her. I guess the what Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes or whatever. That one actually did make a little money,
It
not
made
much.
a little, but not it wasn't significant enough. Like, when they made these movies with Jennifer Lawrence, she would make, like, 7, 800, $900 million, and this is years ago, meaning
Yeah.
if you do for inflation, that's already significantly more. Whereas this thing, it made maybe, like, 300 million at the box office, against, 100 and something $million, and then also they had the marketing. Basically, at best, from what I could tell at the time, maybe the movie broke even. Maybe if they're lucky, they made like almost quite literally a few dollars. But it wasn't a situation where when a studio spends that kind of money on an IP that in the past has brought them what's equivalent to today like $1 billion each movie, and they're barely sort of scraping by, that's not considered a win for them. So yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't a disaster in the sense that they likely didn't lose money, but this wasn't a big money maker for them. Studios don't make these kind of big tentpole movies expecting to break even.
No, and that's God, that's just one of the things that's just the wildest about Hollywood is making these huge tentpole films with spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on them, and it's just wild. At some point, there's going to have to be a correction. They're going to have to go back and start making smaller pictures. It just it's amazing to me how much money they're spending on films. So yeah, no, this Craven, yeah, this does not look good. I was looking to see if I could find a few reviews. I'm wondering if maybe there's maybe some stuff on X uh, from some people that we know.
Phantom Outsider says Price of Reason Live if Flash made it where we never need to see Ezra again. Warner's
Oh,
flop is our gain.
yes,
I,
yeah,
I kind of think that Ezra himself made it so that you don't need to see Ezra anymore, but yeah. Jay Goodwin says, what a coincidence. I too am aiming for $15 million this weekend.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
think you have
I
more of a
think you're
chance.
yeah, you may have a better chance.
Better chance. It's like that Rachel Zegler movie. It only cost $15 million to make the movie, and they just needed to break even just to get out of there without an embarrassment. And the movie made like $2 million in its opening weekend, which is awful.
Yeah, that's
I guess what
yeah,
I'm saying there they actually tried the lower budget, but it didn't work because they chose an actress that nobody cares about doing a movie that looked dumb in the few trailers that they had for it.
see, Junior Felix on X says, I really wanted to love Craven the Hunter, but the awful first act, bad CGI, and even worse dialogue ruined it. The best thing about the film are Aaron's performance and the bloody action sequences. But that wasn't enough. These characters deserve better. Well, okay. I don't know why these characters needed their own movie to begin with. He's just a villain. He's he's a sideshow. He's not Spider-Man. I don't know why he needed his own movie, but okay, sure. I've seen. It looks like Craven the Hunter is debuted. What's their rating on? Not that Rotten Tomatoes is exactly trustworthy,
Let me
but
see. Rotten Tomatoes is a joke. I can't really trust them, but out of curiosity,
14% right now.
it doesn't surprise me. I think it's
Yeah.
one of those kind of Madam Web situations where everybody knows it's crap. Although the audience, not that I can even trust the audience says it's 71%, but it's
Oh
only from
yeah.
like 100 verified reviews. So
Yeah.
can't really take that seriously. Um, in this case, I tend to think that it probably isn't a good movie. I don't really trust critics anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a mediocre movie.
Yeah. It's oh well. Here's the movie Cynic. It says to the surprise of no one, Craven is horrible. However, its release does put the final nail in the coffin of Sony's Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies. So there's that.
Where do you see that? Is that
Oh,
on Rotten?
it's on X. Yeah, I can share.
Oh, I thought it was like on Rotten Tomatoes. Like they put the movie Cynic
No.
on Rotten Tomatoes. That would be like surreal.
Oh,
Well, maybe at some point I'll do a review. I'll try to get to the theater and watch that thing just out of sheer curiosity.
yeah.
I also was going to see that War of the Rohirrim, whatever thing, the Lord of the Ring
Yeah,
thing with
yeah,
the
that
ladies.
might be that might have a little bit better chance of being good than
I
this.
think I saw Gary post something. Maybe he saw an early screening. I thought he said it wasn't good. A lot of people were worried that they were going to try to do this kind of girl boss thing, and it seems like what everybody was worried about. That's exactly what they're doing,
Mhm. Yeah,
which
it's,
is kind of a shame because
in
people were really
instead of
craving. Yeah,
having a movie about, what's his name? Is it, Helm Hammerhand? is the guy's name. Instead of doing a movie about him, they do it about his daughter. It's like,
Yeah,
why?
it feels like an ill-advised movie, that whole thing, and it's just gonna backfire, I think. But it is what it is. So, yeah, so there's this Craven thing this weekend. I don't know how many more opportunities Aaron Taylor Johnson is gonna get after this. I feel like
Yeah.
he always somehow isn't in stuff that succeeds.
Well, we know that Vex is going to enjoy the movie one way or another. At least
She's
there's
like
that.
the only she's the target audience.
Yeah. Look, I
I
was
guess
looking for
she
some.
there's something about the Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance that I suppose she likes.
I just don't really like. Have you? I assume you've seen the trailers for the War of the Rohirrim, right? I don't really like the animation style. It's
No,
a
I
it's
don't
a
like it either. And the truth is that they made that trilogy, like Peter Jackson made it, and it's a great trilogy. And I really, sometimes you just gotta leave well enough alone.
yeah. I mean, it looks looks like it's a Western animation trying to look like anime, and it just doesn't really know that it works all that well. But I mean, yeah, if I were gonna pick one, I would pick that over Craven because Craven's gonna be a stinker. So I don't think too many people are gonna care about reviews for that one.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be annoying in different ways, but I'm curious to see what direction they go in.
Yeah, seeing a few people got some early reviews of it. Somebody saying, as a big Lord of the Rings, this is Mike Corolla on X. As a diehard fan of Lord of the Rings film trilogy, I wanted to love this. The word that kept popping up as I watched it was serviceable. Ooh, that hurts.
Well, serviceable, I guess, is better than
Serviceable.
nothing.
The voice cast is solid enough. Brian Cox is really good, and Guy the Wise is a solid newcomer. Um, Stephen Gallagher's score feels okay compared to what Howard Shore delivered. Overall, I just wanted more from this, but I do hope we can see more animated Middle Earth projects. Not likely, but I guess we'll see.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no, I would not waste my time with Craven.
No, is there any what else is coming out this weekend, or just those two movies?
Oh, let's see. I don't think there's much of anything else. I did see that it looks like Red One finally made its way out of. Well, it might still be in theaters, but made its way to Amazon Prime, I guess this week or this weekend. It's coming, so it'll be
Oh,
interesting to
is it
see if it does
free?
some numbers
Is it
there. It'll
is
be
it?
Amazon. It'll be on Prime. Yeah, it'll be
I
if
didn't
you're
even
if you're
watch
a
that
Prime
movie.
subscriber.
I was curious to see it. I wonder if it's as bad as people say.
It's weird because I've heard some mixed stuff. I know that Andre was saying he liked it over on Midnight's Edge. So that's interesting. Uh, I guess this weekend. All right, let's see. Where's the weekend chart on the numbers? Looking to see. Yeah, I mean, Red One not doing great. It only brought in 87 domestically, but yeah, I'm not sure what else is coming this weekend. Um, where's no? Oh darn it!
Nothing new.
The page is not loading.
That happens sometimes.
Let's try a different site. New release. Let's see.
Any luck?
I'm trying to get there. No, that's a list of streaming. That's not what I want. Well, let's try Rotten Tomatoes since nothing else wants to load. Let's see. opening this week. Yeah, we got Craven, War of the Rohirrim. Those really look like those are the only two big ones. There's a lot of other small pictures, but yeah, nothing that's really the cream of the crop. Yeah, that's about it for this weekend. So yeah, I wouldn't waste time. Like I said, I wouldn't waste time with Craven, but I'm sure there's some people who would enjoy it. It never looked all that fantastic. Um, Jay Goodwin says, "Watch the big red one instead." Well, yes, that would be a much better choice. That would be a much better use of your time. Go back and watch something classic rather than that. What that was an
You know,
80s. That was an
y
80s film, right? It was
you know, speaking of classics, I wanna tell you that recently I watched 2 movies that I hadn't watched in years, that I remembered liking, but then I just kind of revisited them. So one of them was, Edge of Tomorrow.
I still have not seen that.
You know what? You're missing out. It's
Really?
still kind of at the last point
Okay.
in time where movies were fun, interesting, well made. It was a cool idea. I feel like today you want to make that movie, they already inject a bunch of weird crap into it. And that movie was good. I rewatched also after many years Source Code, another good movie.
Hmm. Okay. I think I've
Bo-
seen that one.
Both of these movies are
Yeah.
movies that like I enjoyed the rewatch because it reminds you that not too long ago, decent movies were being made.
Yeah. I was let's see, we were actually I actually came real close to watching Edge of Tomorrow. I had a buddy visiting a while back and we were sitting down in the evening one night. We were like, "Hey, let's, watch a movie." And so we were kind of going through some different stuff and he was telling me some movies he sees like, "Hey, have you seen this, seen that?" So the Edge we talked about Edge of Tomorrow and then we ended up it was going to be Edge of Tomorrow or Nobody. And he was like, "I can't believe you haven't seen Nobody." So we sat down and watched Nobody. I did not regret that. That's a great film. That's a lot of fun.
What, Nobody?
Yes,
Yeah, that was a fun movie.
really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have to go see. I'll have to make some time to watch Edge of Tomorrow. I've heard a lot of people say that it's pretty good.
I
Um,
really
I'm
like I really like it.
I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan. I never have been, and just being in it, I was like, yeah, whatever. Uh,
You know what? I'll tell you something that I used to sort of be in the same boat as you. I thought Tom Cruise was okay. I wasn't necessarily his biggest fan, but what happened was in all of this kind of woke era where they went and they ruined everything, you suddenly encounter like some of Tom Cruise's older movies or even newer ones, and suddenly it's hard not to suddenly appreciate him a bit, especially because it's a industry that probably may have tried to pressure him to do all of these different things, and it seems like he usually just does what he wants to do.
yeah, yeah, that's he's got enough money. He's done enough movies. I think he just gets to decide. Yes, I'll do that. No, I won't. He's
Right,
he's
but
not gonna he's not taking any work because he needs the money. That's for sure.
right, but I'm just saying that I think my appreciation for him has grown over the years because when you see this younger generation of people that don't treat their craft in the same way, it's hard not to at least sort of respect what he does. For me,
Hmm. Superior Nav said in the chat that they're making a Nobody sequel. That'll be interesting. Not sure where they would take that, but yeah, I thought that was uh, pretty open and shut story. Really,
yeah, I
and
would say that.
wrapped up pretty well. But yeah, it's got some there's just some amazing scenes and some great fun cinematography. And I was not expecting Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool that Christopher Lloyd was in it. I hope that he comes back again.
Yeah, that was great fun. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at Edge of Tomorrow. Maybe I'll get an opportunity to watch that over the break here.
Yeah, I think Edge of Tomorrow is cool. I liked Source Code as well. Those are movies that I liked. And yeah, like I said, Tom Cruise, I think I liked him for years. Then he kind of seemed a little quirky and odd, and maybe the way the mainstream media presented him and all that kind of affected my opinion of him. But he's so consistent in just wanting to make these kind of good movies that I think that today, like I said, I have more respect for him.
Mm. Oh yeah, it looks like Gary Nerdrotic, he has posted his
Yeah, he
review
didn't like
of
it.
the
And
War of the
listen, I
Rohirrim.
kind of
Yeah.
trust Gary. I'm not saying we could have different opinions, but if he didn't like it, I take that very seriously.
Hmm. Yep. Nope, he was not happy with it. Yeah, he says, yeah, they did indeed. They went with a girl boss for their movie rather than actually telling a story about an actually interesting character from the lore, Helm Hammerhand, after which Helm's Deep is named. So, yeah, this unnamed daughter from the you from the edges of Tolkien's lore. Yeah.
Uh, Somebody says, who said this? Superior Enough says Price of Reason Live. Sharon Stone is going to be in the Nobody sequel. She
Interesting.
is. I mean,
Hmm.
I think Connie Nielsen is in there. Do we need Sharon Stone in there as well? I don't really know, but whatever.
Hmm.
I don't know if she was like a shoe in for the movie, but I hope that they bring her for a reason.
Hmm.
There was a
Yeah, it
moment
looks
in
like
time. There was a moment in time where Sharon Stone was considered very hot.
oh, yes, there was. Absolutely.
No, those years with like Total Recall and like Basic Instinct, those were Sharon Stone's years.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it does look like they're plan. It looks like it'll be the Nobody sequel. Nobody 2 is scheduled for release next August. So they must already be well into production.
Have you seen that ballerina trailer? The one that's gonna have what's her face? Ana de Armas, and it's gonna
Yes,
have John Wick in it.
I saw the trailer, but I've not seen anything in the John Wick universe. I've not seen a single thing. So it was an interesting trailer. It didn't tell me anything that I was particularly interested in, though. So
Uh, I'll tell you what, you've never seen any of the John Wick movies?
nothing, not a one.
I'll tell you what, I watched the first John Wick movie, and I thought it was pretty good. Then I watched the second one, and I didn't like it as much. And the third one, I think that I already didn't watch the third one and fourth one, and maybe I should. But I almost feel like the first one was a good movie, and sometimes you feel like you don't need a franchise or don't need 70 movies. I'm not sure that whatever they expanded after the first one was all that important, aside from they just rehashed and it was fun for some people.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's what I had kind of heard. They were very much sort of like sort of just fun shoot 'em up popcorn films. They weren't particularly serious, but yeah, just not something that ever interested me enough to bother seeing them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's worse movies you could watch. I like when there's action. I thought that the first one did it pretty well. I just feel like the second and third one and the fourth one, maybe too, we're all just trying to just be cash grabs. I like it when there's a little more substance and they don't just bring stuff back just so they can make more money.
Oh yeah, that's much preferred to the other options. We
For
got a
sure.
super chat.
Oh, okay.
So the Dead Man, great supporter of the
The
channel.
Dead
Thank
Man, yeah,
you,
is
the Dead
awesome.
Man.
Friend of the channel.
Yes. For 9.99, it says Edge of Tomorrow is the Tom Cruise version of the TNG Cause and Effect episode. Okay.
I think I understand what he
familiar.
means.
I'm familiar with that episode. Yes.
Yeah, I think I understand what he means, and yeah, it's great. I really like Edge of Tomorrow. I also like Emily Blunt, and I think it's a movie that especially like her in. Like,
Yeah.
if you had to tell me now what's Emily Blunt's best role, I would say it's probably Edge of Tomorrow.
Is it just the push-ups or is there something else?
No, I mean, it's not just the push-up. I think that, I don't know, I think her performance is good. I like her in the movie. I don't know, you watch it and you like her, so
Yeah. I actually kinda like Emily Blunt.
I do too, and I don't really have an explanation as to why, but there's something about her that's likable, and I can't it's hard not to like her.
Yeah. Seems pretty talented. Seems to take her role seriously. She's also not in the press too much, doing all sorts of
No,
wild
and even when she is, usually
political
says
stuff.
she says stuff that I like, that she's like, "Oh, I'm tired of all these people telling me that I'm gonna be a strong female character in the movie. This annoys me."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought
She
that that's
was
pretty
yeah, she was
based.
one that was saying, like, when she gets the script and it says strong female character, whatever, she's like, "Ugh, no, thank you."
Right, it says a
It's kinda
lot that
funny.
she doesn't even like that.
Yeah. No, she's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always liked her, and I think that in Edge of Tomorrow, she's great. Source Code is also good. You've never seen Source Code?
Um, the name isn't ringing a bell, but I'm might have seen what is it? What's it about?
It's something with Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's trying to, do something with a train and stopping some attack. I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't
No.
seen it. It's
Ah,
good though.
I think I might have seen it. Yeah, this is an older film, 2011.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like it.
It kind of seems familiar, but yeah, maybe I have to go back and watch it again.
So recently, I rewatched both of those, and that they were really pleasant to revisit because
Yeah.
they're good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Put it on. Add it to the list here.
And I
I'll
guess, I
say-
mean, there is a big deal. Maybe you can shed some light on it. You know that Alyssa lady is
Oh,
suing
phew.
JT.
Yeah, there's been a couple things that have happened with JT Smash this week. One, he was kind of having a beef with our friend Dred Roberts. That was none too pleasant. But
I didn't notice that.
oh yeah, so earlier this week, Dred was basically talking about how um he replied to someone else's comment. Basically, it was a character from a recent release. That's a woman, curvy, nice looking, but in skimpy little outfit, wagging her rear end in front of the camera, and talking about, "Hey, is this what gamers want?" And basically, he was just saying like that maybe it's not a great idea to, yes, I understand fighting back against like all the woke stuff, but maybe it's not the best idea to just have naked women in all our games. Like, maybe we could do something else, like make a good game, not just make games with unclothed women in it.
And this
And
caused them to fight?
well, JT was kind of coming after him, saying, like, basically that his his opinion was, religious, and it was, sort of, censoring stuff and whatever. And yes, we know that Dred's a, religious guy. And yeah, I'm certain that that informed some of his opinion, but I don't.
To be fair, though, it's not like Dredd is, like, over the top in a way that you can't have a conversation with him, or that, he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
understand what regular, like, people or dudes or whatever. I guess what I'm saying is that he's never, given me the impression that he's some fanatic, to
yeah,
me at
yeah.
least.
I think JT got a little defensive because in his reply to JT, Dredd said something about him being a family man and having kids and stuff like that. I think implying that, you know, that maybe we should be pushing back on some of this, more, prurient content, naked women and stuff in the games. Maybe we should be pushing back against that a little, partly in protecting our kids, right? And just being more mature. And I think he took that in a wrong way. as does happen with internet beefs, right?
Well, without seeing all the details, I will say that I like Dread Roberts and I also like JT, so I would hope that, these 2 guys wouldn't be
Yeah,
arguing over s
same thing. I
especially
think
in our day and age, there's enough people bickering, the people suing and doing all this
yeah,
crazy stuff. I think, within our circles, it never makes me happy when people, are arguing, especially when I'm sure that this
yeah.
was
Well,
probably presented and made into something bigger than it
yeah.
probably should have been.
Yeah, and again, I like both of them too, and I think they both had some good points. One, you don't want to be, I think JT was coming down more on the side of saying, like, you don't want to just say, "Hey, I'm the arbiter of what's okay. I'm going to be the one to decide what gets censored and what doesn't. We should let the market decide that." I think what Dredd was trying to say, not to put words in his mouth, but I think what he was trying to say was more of maybe we need to have some more mature people in the room talking about like, hey, if we're just going to jump from nope, we're going to get rid of woke stuff, but now we're just going to have naked women in all of our games, that maybe that's going to cause another big backlash, that people are going to be upset about that, and that maybe we just don't have all of that gratuitous stuff in there. Let's make a really good game, and then if people want to have that in the good game, you know what I mean? Like, he was kind of approaching it. I think they were both coming at the same topic, just from different directions, and I just had a little bit of a beef over it. But anyway, I can understand the arguments from both sides. Yeah, we don't want to be coming at it in the other direction and saying, well, now you have to censor all the games. We may not have all of these transformers and they thems in the games, but now, yeah, you're not allowed to have women in skimpy clothing, because we're going to decide that that's not okay. I don't want to see that, right? I don't want to see that sort of censorious approach to things. But at the same time, I think it's a reasonable thing to say, hey, maybe maybe this is an overreaction, right? And maybe we don't need to have these scantily clad women in every single game that comes out, and then make that our that's where we're going to hang our hat. We're not going to make good games. We're just going to make sure that we've got half naked women in them, right? But yes, the Alyssa Mercanti thing, of course, we all know about Alyssa. We know about the beefs that she's had, the ridiculous overreactions and threats, and calling up Smash JT's wife, and all sorts of stuff. And it's been insane levels of stuff that have happened between the two of them, especially on behalf of Alyssa Mercanti. So now, you might remember that sometime back she threatened him with a lawsuit. Oh, excuse me. She threatened him with a lawsuit, and so she made good on that threat. And of course, at the time, he engaged Ron Coleman, the the YouTube lawyer extraordinaire, to help, in his defense, because she sent a letter. She had a lawyer that sent a letter basically saying, cease and desist. You can't talk about me anymore. You're defaming me, blah, 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 blah. And the letter that they sent back was basically, we deny that any of these things happened at all. It's not, this is nonsense. We deny all these charges, and sent them the letter back, basically telling them to eat, you know, e- eat shit, get lost. Sorry, Sean. Uh, and so the in that uh, in that conversation, there was that threat of that lawsuit. Well, she's made good on it. Of course, now this lawsuit has been filed and has been sent to him on behalf of Alyssa. The wildest thing is that she put his full name and address
I
for
saw
where his
that.
family
That's
lives
weird.
in the documents, and then posted them online for everyone to see. And so now they, he's been doxxed. She legally, quote unquote, doxed him. But of course, she left her contact information, had that blocked out so that that can't be seen. And she says, well, because she's the one having the threats made against her or whatever, she has to be able to protect her address and whatever. So it'll only be released directly to the court. And so that's been used to, to dox him essentially, and post his address online for all of her crazy followers to do all sorts of wild stuff. And she has made numerous wild claims about what he has done. I mean, these are wild. So in this preliminary statement that was made, let's see if I can find it here. Among those vociferous, ceaseless critics, talking about people who are critical of Kotaku, Jeff Tarzia, a social media influencer who publishes videos related to video games on the popular online platform YouTube and Rumble under the moniker Smash JT. Tarzia declared Kotaku to be everything wrong with the video game industry. What's wrong with that? He is allowed to have that opinion.
He's allowed to have that opinion. I saw what he said, and I saw a lot of the quotes of people like the one that you just read, and it doesn't seem logical.
Oh, it's wild.
I mean, the thing is that these are very general things. You can't blame somebody for them. It's just she just woke up and decided that she wants to battle him, but I'm not really sure what the end game is here.
Says in the beginning, much of Tarzia's content was legal, hyperbolic, vitriolic, incorrect, conspiratorial, paranoid, juvenile, and crass, but legal. And then goes on to say all sorts of things. He's calling him an outrage merchant who shouts louder, uses more profanity, and feeds their need for simulated hatred of a perceived enemy. And then it includes various posts of his in there saying that he's making up things about her, he's lying about her, he's has injured her and defamed her in various different ways, and like saying that she she likes to apply her mouth to uh men's genitals. Of course, she said that herself. She has in tweets where she said someone asked her, "How'd you get into the video game industry?" And she says, "I sucked dick." She said
She
it
said
herself.
that, not in.
She
She's the
said
one
it
that said it.
herself. She said it in
If
her
she
account.
said that,
She's
you can't.
deleted that tweet. She's deleted that tweet
Now
from her
she's
ex account.
deleted it.
But guess what? The internet doesn't forget. Okay. She is claiming essentially various wild things: defamation, bias related violence, intimidation, infliction of emotional distress, and stochastic terrorism. I mean, it just what? Please.
She's just such a
Like,
attention. I don't want to say attention whore, but that kind of would suit the.
I
You know what
mean,
I'm trying to say.
it's wild. He she has said so many of these things publicly. And then, you know, she's trying to say like he's making all this stuff up about her and whatnot. So here I will show you this. Let me share my screen. Uh, Here's JT's lawyer, the
That's
wonderful
Coleman, yeah.
Ron
Ron
Coleman.
Coleman.
Here's her lawyer.
Yes, that's it's funny. Who wrote that? They don't bring the best. That's funny.
J Viper TV. Yeah,
Anyhow, I thought
not
that was
familiar with
funny,
that one,
but
but oh geez. I
yeah,
mean,
no, Ron Coleman's the real deal. I mean, I
oh
know
yeah,
he's
he's
worked with
gonna
some serious people that were in bad situations, and
yeah.
he's good at this.
Yes, yeah, I mean, it is wild to think that they have any chance of winning this game. I mean, I think what she wants to do is try and, damage him, damage his reputation. Obviously, wants to come out and, use this as an opportunity to dox him. And then, of course, if they can manage to get it to court, obviously, cost him money, harm him in some way. Uh, Here's the funny thing, one, he's already raised quite a bit to be able to retain Ron
Hey,
Coleman,
Tim Hayes.
and I bet you that Ron can have this thrown out, and then, they might even try to countersue. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, but, I am not even worried in the slightest for Smash JT over this. Alyssa Brigande is a deeply unserious person, and I can't imagine that any court is gonna see this, as, seriously, right?
Wow, did you see what I just saw? He was
No.
trying to raise $25,000 and he's already raised $38,000.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people have pitched in, to help with his, help pay for his legal
He
funds.
just like posted it today, I think. So this is quite
Is
a
it a new one? Because he's had one up for a while.
oh,
Yeah. When he first had to retain Ron Coleman, he put one up. So that's been
I
a
thought
couple
that
of
earlier
months.
today I was looking at this and it was significantly lower than this.
Oh,
Whenever he
well, I mean,
posted it, today was the day that he got the most money.
yeah, it's entirely possible, but,
And I'll tell you why. I understand because the thing is that like in a lot of other cases, it's more than just it's bigger even than him in the sense that when something like this happens, as a community, as people that do, talk about pop culture and point out things that we don't like and have these conversations, sometimes very blunt ones. The fact that somebody is doing that, that's sort of an attack on freedom of speech. And yeah, don't know what to say.
yeah. No, yeah, it does look like he launched a different campaign. So, he had a smaller one earlier, but here, yeah, he's, did again, Give, Send, Go, campaign. That he launched. So yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad to know that
I
he was
see
talking
he
about
was
how he had to take money out of his kids' college fund and stuff to help pay the retainer and everything. And Ron is a serious lawyer. He's yeah, he's on YouTube and talks to
no, but
WDW
he
Pro and
a
stuff, but
serious guy. No,
he's a
I think
serious guy. He's a real lawyer and he has expenses. He has to he can't just be giving his services away to people for free. So,
I understand that.
I'm sure he's giving JT a nice discount, for
I would assume. I think that Ron Coleman. I think that he represented maybe the libs of TikTok. That lady. I think he
he's been
represented.
involved in a number of
Like
things like
this is his
yeah,
specialty, and I don't
yeah.
think that he's gonna just let people push.
No.
You know, I think that what I'm saying is, I think that generally speaking, he's the type of guy that actually believes in this stuff. He really doesn't want to see people like JT pushed around.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's also his profession, and
yep, yep. And
it's not. It's.
people deserve to be paid for their work.
I agree. I
And
agree.
so, it looks like we got another super chat here. Almost missed that. From guess who? The
The
dead
dead
man.
man, the dead man.
The
The
dead
dead
man.
man. You're so awesome, man. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you. We appreciate it. The dead man for 9.99 again. Says price. Sorry, I'm late. I had to meet up with a friend. I missed the Quantum Leap stream. I watched the episode earlier in the week. I now know that Quantum Leap is on Roku, so now I can keep up. So
You know what?
yeah,
If we're being honest, even I didn't miss the Quantum Leap stream, but I arrived maybe at the halfway point of that stream because I ran into a delay and I wasn't able to get home on time. Thankfully, we have a guy there who has a lot of experience, working in broadcast news. He does his own podcast, and he kind of took over and he made sure that the stream, still continued. He was like running it, and it ended up being good, and all's well. It ends well. But yeah, so you don't have to feel bad. Sometimes people they get delayed. It even happened to me today.
Yep. It happens to everybody. Happens to
I
everybody.
actually showed up. I got home exactly for the night owl. I don't know if you know that. Like, I was really in a hurry getting in there and then turning it on and going in. Everything was like last minute, but I managed to do it. So I'm really thankful.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad you're here too. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like today there was so much going on, and I kind of was almost physically exhausted. That I feel like you've been great today,
Oh,
and I
I
feel like
appreciate it. Yep.
you managed to
Well,
but that,
I gave my last final yesterday, so I'm rested and and cheerful.
no,
Oh,
but
the only thing that's left for me to do is shuffle numbers around in some spreadsheets, and that's that's no big deal on my end. So,
no, but what I learned, especially like from these incidents, is that it's always good when you're part of a team, and then if one day maybe you're kind of under the weather or something like that, we're still streaming, but maybe you're going through something or you're you know uh, delayed or something like that, and then I can be maybe more vocal or do more things, and then if another day it's the opposite, then you can do kind of more, and
yeah.
that's what good partnerships and good
Yeah, there you go.
friendships
And
and
you know what? I'm also really glad that we have been joined by so many people on YouTube and on Rumble. We're glad to see everybody here this evening. And if you have not taken the opportunity yet, could you click the like on there, click
it,
subscribe on the channel? We'd appreciate that. And if you are on Rumble, if you don't have an account, if you're just kind of watching along without an account, we'd appreciate it a lot if you would make an account, and that way you can follow us and you'll be notified every time we do a stream.
is that 6 that I see here?
It is indeed.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah,
I like
hey there,
6, and I
6.
I thought for a while that she didn't like me anymore, but, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad you're here too, 6. So
yeah,
and yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the thing is that, Rumble is like our home base for this show, and I say home base because we talk about a lot of stuff. Some platforms don't like it when you talk about stuff, but on Rumble, they really support freedom of speech, and it's not just a slogan, they really support it. So even though while we do this stream, we go on a few different platforms, Rumble is the one, I know that there have been cases where we were on some platform that it's also going out to, and maybe we were talking about something and suddenly the stream disappeared. This has actually happened to us before. Whereas on Rumble, that's not the case. Rumble, you do your stream, you talk about whatever you want to talk about, and I like that they're giving people that kind of freedom. And yes, you're right what you were saying. A lot of people use Rumble as sort of an app, and they just watch stuff, and sometimes they don't even sign up for the service. In some cases, I think that people aren't aware that you don't have to pay money to sign up. There's different tiers, but basically, if you just want access to the
yeah,
videos and to be able to interact, you can subscribe and it's free. And then if you already did all of that and you feel like liking this stream, or commenting or doing anything like that, you're certainly welcome to. Not only for me, but Professor R2 is also on all platforms. You can find him on Rumble, you can find him on YouTube, you can find him on X, and wherever he's at, you should join him there. I mean, follow, subscribe, whatever it is, you should
yeah,
definitely do it.
yeah. Well, let's see. Um, what else do we got? Oh, I know. I was going to mention the Game Awards. Had you seen any of those?
I
Price that
saw
was
that
finished up last night.
Wukong actually won something, and that
Yeah.
actually made me happy because that's the only game that I played this year. It's
Well,
true. That's the only game I played.
yeah, here, I'll share some here. Wait, no, it didn't share. That's weird. Try again. Select the tab and share. It doesn't want to share my tab. Hold on. Reload here. Very strange. Never had that happen. It doesn't want to share the tab there. Price.
I don't know
It's
why
very
though.
strange. It blinks like it wants to share it. Here, I will put it in the private chat there. Maybe you can try and load it up on your screen.
All right, let's see.
Not sure why it does not want to share it. Try again here.
Were you able to do it?
No, oh, I put I sent the URL in private chat, but yeah, it will not let me share
Did I
the
get it? Oh, okay, okay, okay. I got it now.
will not let me share it.
Let's see if it works
Very
for me.
strange.
I'm gonna try to do it now.
Yeah.
Here at Price of Reason Studios, we have the best
Top notch
top-notch technology.
technology, yes. And
Uh,
if it won't let us show it, then
no, it didn't. It didn't let me show it for some reason.
maybe there's some. It's got a lot of animated elements and stuff on the screen, so maybe there's something there that it's not doesn't want to. Well, we can just touch base on a few different topics here then.
No, you
Um,
should tell us. You
yeah.
should.
So the game of the
Hold
year.
on, I have an idea.
Oh,
You
okay.
keep talking. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay. So the game of the year, there were a bunch of very popular games that were up for this one in particular. Uh, Metaphor Refantasio was one that a lot of people were looking for. Also, Black Myth Wukong was another big one. A lot of people were interested in. This is also one where we had some DLC with the Shadow of the Erd Tree, the Elden Ring expansion that people were considering. But the winner was Astrobot, which is honestly a really fun game. I've actually been playing that myself. Oh, look at that! He's got it up there. Nice.
Now, okay.
Yeah.
What do I? So, Astrobot.
So
That's
yeah,
the game of the
game of
year.
the year was Astrobot. That's a PlayStation exclusive, and it's a lot of fun. It was a sort of a sequel. There were some previous Astrobot games. They were VR game. There was a VR game on the PlayStation 4 on PlayStation VR, and then there was a little introductory sort of thing that came with the PlayStation 5 that kind of showed off a lot of the features of the new controller, and that was pretty interesting. But they have this full blown Astrobot game, and it's a lot of fun. Sort of a classic, just simple platformer, very fun. You can just click next to just kind of jump through the categories there.
All right, I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah, just click next. So
Best
yeah,
game direction. I
next
guess it
was
won
best
that
game
too.
direction, also won. Astrobot also won for that.
Best
And
narrative.
then best narrative, Metaphor Refantasia. I've heard lot of people really enjoying this game. I'm kind of curious. This might be a lot of times I'll pick up something over the Christmas break when I'm not so busy and play it. This might be my choice this year. It's I guess it's more of a tactical game, so I
Honestly,
might be
I've never even heard
interested.
of it.
It's a fairly new one. It's only been out for a month or so, I think.
Without knowing
Um,
anything, if you told me now to play anything of these, I probably would have taken Final Fantasy Rebirth,
yeah.
just
Uh,
because I'm familiar with that franchise.
yeah.
But that's just because that's the easy route. You know what I mean? But Metaphor Refuntasio sounds interesting.
Refantasio, yeah. Um, it also won for best art. The next one is best art direction. It also won for that.
Oh, so that's oh, okay. So
Yeah,
Metaphor
Metaphor.
Refantasio won
Yep.
that. That's good to
Uh,
know.
and then Final Fantasy Rebirth got best score. So Final Fantasy
Well,
7 Rebirth.
that's not the best
Uh,
prize, but
yeah,
hopefully
it's something though.
something
Get
like
some
that.
recognition there. Best audio design was Sinwa's Saga Hellblade 2. So I'm guessing you probably have not played Sinwa's Saga or Sinwa's Sacrifice,
No.
I believe was the first one.
Is it good?
Uh, it's excellent.
Oh, okay.
It is a fascinating game. It was came out in 2017, sort of an action adventure. It was made by Ninja Theory, which is a fantastic studio. It has basically it's based in Norse mythology, so, or some Celtic mythology, and she has to work her way through various different challenges, trying to get revenge uh, for her village that was destroyed. It's been a while since I played it, but it's a fantastic game. It won a whole that first one won a ton of awards when it came out. But part of what's going on in the game is that she uh has issues with her mental health. And so she hears people talking in her head, or she sees things, right? So there's like she has like a level of psychosis that she's dealing with. And so not only was it a really interesting story and fantastic gameplay, but it really explored like a mental health awareness, like and understanding people's, suffering from trauma and mental illness, which was really surprising to see from a hack and slash kind of a game, right? I'm glad to see it got something there. This is another one that might be my pick up and play over the break. Um, so the next one was for a voiceover performance. So the next category.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so I have to move
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
Go to the
All right.
next category. Next category there
Okay,
was
best
voiceover
performance.
performance.
So
This
that
one
one,
also Melina
Mil-
Jurgens for also
Millionaire.
for Senua Saga.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then innovation and accessibility. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I don't know what it was about this that was so accessible. Um, I'd have to look that up, but okay, innovation and accessibility. At least Dragon Age: The Veilguard didn't win, right?
I'm
Um,
surprised that they even, nominated it. Prince of Persia. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm familiar with the game, but probably from much older days. Is this Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown? Is it any good?
I have no idea. It's not one that I've been particularly interested in. I played, of course, the original Prince of Persia, like on DOS, like back in the day,
Right,
right?
yeah, no, that's the
Uh,
classic one, that's the cla
and then
listen, don't laugh, that's a classic game,
no,
that re like, really, that sort of, did things in that game that you had never seen before,
yeah, it was no, it
and
was amazing. The really fluid animation of the character and how you fought in the different
you
fights and
you didn't
stuff. It
see
was
that kind of animation of a
no,
character prior, I think.
no,
I
it
think
was
that
it
it
was really
really
impressive. Yeah, it's a classic.
really introduced something like it's cool when you have these kind of games that you know that their very existence changed something.
Yeah.
And I
And
think that
then
Prince of Persia, the original one, to be fair, prior to Prince of Persia, you had Karateka, which I think that was like the
yeah,
OG that did the thing. Although I like Karateka, I know, it's like, you play it today, it's a joke, but I still liked it. And I
yeah.
think the Prince of Persia was nice. It kind of took it to another level and it introduced new types of animated characters. So yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, so the Lost Crown is sort of the most recent title, sort of in the same line as ooh,
I mean, just this haircut I see on him makes me feel suspicious, but I could be wrong.
oh, browser crashed. I'm back. Hello.
His haircut makes me feel
It's
suspicious, but
it's a little weird, yeah. No, so
and it's
this is kind of
Ubisoft,
the
which like they are already always are up to some no good
yep,
agenda peddling.
yep.
It's like, what are they trying to say with that hair? I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Not
I mean, I
not
guess
sure about that, but
I don't know that in Egypt that was the hair, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to look at it. I'm not particularly interested. But this is sort of their most recent extension on the newer sort of reboot from I think it was 2003, 2004 with Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which that was a fantastic game. That was an amazing. That was the one that introduced the ability to you could rewind time. So you could actually you're playing the game and you could actually rewind what was going on in the game, which was amazing. Like that was like mind blowing when it first came out, and
Yeah, it's
that
kind of
game was
cool.
actually a great deal of fun. It really was a very well made game. Then they had a sequel to that, which was The Warrior Within. Uh, that one was not as obviously it wasn't revolutionary. It was interesting. They upped the combat and everything in it, but it just wasn't quite as good. And then they've had a number of sequels since then from that. So I think The Lost Crown is probably the most recent addition from that, but I'm not sure. Uh, yeah, it's hmm, hero named Sargon, a young member of a warrior clan called the Immortals. Okay, whatever. Not interested. What else?
Next, we
Let's
have
see. Yeah,
games for impact for a thought-provoking game with a
yeah.
pro-social meaning. So it's
Pro
woke.
social meaning. Yes,
So it's
basically
like
woke.
basically
Yeah.
it's the woke category by their own admission. I'm not
Yep.
making this up.
Well, I would be interested. I'd have to check on Neva. I wonder if
That's
that's a
not a good
title that
prize
had
to
some.
win, though. It's the type of prize that if you win that, I'm probably not excited about your
Yeah,
game.
I'd have to see if that one has some Sweet Baby Ink tied to it
It's
or not.
probably like total Sweet Baby Ink.
But yeah,
Best
the
ongoing.
Helldivers 2 best ongoing. Yeah, that I'm glad Helldivers 2 picked up something because that's yeah, that has been a amazing title. A lot of people love that. It's not really my bag. Not really what I look for when I'm doing gaming, but I know a number of people that are absolutely loving that community support. Uh Baldur's Gate 3, that's, interesting choice there. Outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness.
Is there a good
Uh,
community support, or is just do you agree with that
I don't know.
assessment?
I've not played Baldur's Gate 3 and I there's that's not really in the wheelhouse for anybody that I know who's gaming. So I have heard good things about it and a lot of people
I've
that
heard good
enjoy it,
things
but
about it too.
yeah. Uh,
What's best independent game?
yeah, Balatro, that definitely deserves to win. A lot of people absolutely love that game. Uh, it's it's not my favorite thing. I get why people enjoy it. I kind of burned out on it pretty quick. It's sort of you play a poker hand, so it's a
Okay.
card game, but there's modifiers that randomly show up when you're playing that determine how many points different hands can get you, and certain cards become wild or they have special powers and different stuff that you can do. So you kind of play through and you try to get the best possible hands, and you consecutively each sort of level passes, you have to start earning more and more points from your hands, and so you have to really take advantage of the special cards that get played. And this has also come out on a ton of different platforms too. I'm really happy for this small developer. This indie games has really blown up. A lot of people love it. Like I said, not really something that really tickles my fancy. I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but I respect why people enjoy it. It can be a lot of fun, and it's also sort of it, it's almost a roguelike too, where you only get one shot, right? You die, and then you have to you have to start over from the start. So I think
That's
that's
kind of
definitely
cool.
one that deserved a win somewhere. Um,
Best debut
Best
indie
debut
game.
indie. Yep, this was Balatro was also that was the first title from that studio. Best
Best
mobile,
mobile
also
game.
Balatro, another win there. And I will say I had played the the desktop title Balatro, and I played the mobile. That is an masterful translation over to mobile play. It was really well done. I think they deserve that as well. Vest VR, AR, yeah, Arkham Shadow. I've heard some people really enjoy Arkham Shadow, others not so much. I'm not a very big VR gamer. Um, I don't have a Meta headset. Don't really
You
want to
know
buy
what?
anything from Meta.
I have a Meta, some kind of Meta Oculus, whatever it is,
Yeah,
and initially when I got it, I played with it a little more, but I had a lot of stuff going on. It's like in a closet somewhere. I have to take it, and I don't know. I'm waiting for them to create models that are a bit lighter and more pleasant to play,
yeah.
because sometimes you play with that thing, and after a bit, like it gives you a headache.
Yeah, the newer one, the 3 is supposed to be extremely comfortable. I've actually not tried a 3 yet. My son was kind of asking for one for Christmas.
I think I
I
have
don't
a
think I'm gonna
2.
be
I don't
getting
think
that.
I ever tried a 3.
Yeah, the 3 is supposed to be it's a lot thinner and lighter, and you got a much higher resolution on them too. But yeah,
Because
I just don't, I the whole, like, the strapping the thing to my face and sort of shutting out the world, like, it's
I think
not
that over
really
time
for
there's going
me.
to be more as younger generations and start incorporating, and there'll be better models that are better graphics and lighter. I think that people are going to warm up to the idea a bit more. The
Mhm.
initial things, even if you take that number 2 one, I don't know how the number 3 is. It's not as pleasant, even though I could see the potential. I could see the potential in this product.
Yeah, yeah. I did play there was an Arkham related game for the original PlayStation VR. I did have that. That was pretty fun, but no, I've not played this newer one. Um, let's see. The next one is the one you'll like here. Best action game. In the next category there is Black Myth Wukong. So hey, there you
I
go.
was really, really
There's your
impressed with
Wukong.
the game. I enjoyed playing, and I like what I saw, and I'm happy it won something. It
Yeah,
may have even been, been deserving of even a better award, but what do I know?
yeah. Um, this is another one that candidate for my game to tackle and have fun with over the break. It does look very interesting. It looks like a lot of fun. So
It is fun, and the thing is that what I was happy was is that I don't often play these days, but that I made a point to play it because I remember that the mainstream media was trying to kind of push it aside because didn't fit the narrative that they were trying to push. And I just said, "This looks interesting to me," and I played it, and I'm like, "Wow, this is kind of cool." So I'm happy.
yeah, yeah,
Bex Action Adventure,
yeah,
Astrobot. I see
yeah.
Astrobot's really
Oh, I thought you were going to be real disappointed that Star Wars Outlaws didn't win that one. Yeah.
Star Wars Outlaw.
Yeah,
I'm surp-
Astrobot, another win for that there. Again,
oh, but The
I
Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom didn't get anything.
yeah, that one, I'm kind of surprised that that didn't win, but on the other hand, I haven't actually not gotten to play this yet. My son has played through it, and he put it down a couple of times, which is weird for him for a Zelda. He's a huge fan
Yeah,
of the Legend of
I'm
Zelda
like
games.
I like Zelda as well. I mean, the earlier games, I would play
Yeah,
for years. Actually, I've played different versions, different games from that series. Maybe the later ones, not really, but I
yeah.
wonder what they got wrong in this one that your son doesn't like it.
I don't know. He's played through every Zelda title at least once. Some of them he's played through multiple times. I think he's played through Tears of the Kingdom at least twice. But the Legends of the Echoes of Wisdom, I think I don't know. I've talked to some people who kind of got frustrated with some of the mechanics that you have later on. They get really complex where like you're kind of juggling like, oh, I got to press this button and this button together to kind of make this thing happen. Like some of the mechanics got a little complicated or messy. I don't know, but I guess I haven't really gotten an opportunity to play it myself. Uh, I'll have to see. But yeah, I had heard some complaints that some people had with that one. So Astrobot again, the winner there. Best RPG. A Metaphor gets another win there.
I hope that this game is good and they're not just giving it prizes
No,
because
I've heard a ton of people really love that one. Fighting game Tekken 8 there were not a lot of great new fighting games that came
I
out this
haven't played,
year. So
I
yeah,
wish I had a good console so I could play Tekken 8 because
yeah.
honestly, I used to like the Tekken
Oh,
series, and I just again uh, don't have these days as much time as I'd like for these kind of things. But when I see like Tekken 8, it kind of makes me feel sorry that I don't have the ability to play that because I would have absolutely played it. I really like Tekken.
yeah. I've always been ever since I played the original Street Fighter 2 in the arcade when that first came out. I have been a huge fighting game fan. Can't say I'm the best at it, but I enjoy it. It's
No,
just
I
fun.
enjoy it, and
And in fact, I have
I specifically enjoy Tekken, but go on.
yeah, Tekken was a lot of fun. I remember when Tekken 3 came out, when that hit the PlayStation,
Tekken 3 was
uh
amazing.
yes, when that
Amazing.
port hit the PlayStation, me and a buddy of mine who was also a big fan of fighting games, we played that nonstop. That was just a great game. Is kind of funny though. The Street Fighter title that's over there, the Capcom Fighting Collection. I did actually buy that because it has a whole bunch of the old Capcom fighters in it that I really loved from the arcade back in the day with the Street Fighter versus Marvel games, the X Men uh, arcade game, or not the X Men arcade, but the X Men. Was it Children of the Atom? I think was the name of it. Was is a very Street Fighter esque Capcom fighter. Lots of fun. So yeah, I actually have that one. I bought that collection because I just wanted to go play some of those. But yeah, I haven't played Tekken 8, so yeah, I'll
Haven't
have to
played
try
it
that
either,
one out.
but I would
Yeah,
if somebody said, "Hey, do you wanna play Tekken 8?" I'd say yes, and I'd play it.
yeah. I think I played Tekken 7, but I haven't played the Tekken 8 yet. But yeah, Astrobot, best family game. That's not a surprise there, given it's won so many of the other awards there, and it is a great family friendly title too.
Best sim
Um,
strategy, Frostpunk.
Frostpunk 2. I I think I might have played the first Frostpunk, but I don't remember. Um,
This means nothing to me, but
yeah, no, yeah, it's a strategy game. I'm kind of surprised that ReFantazio didn't win that one, given that it's won so many others. Oop! Oh, my browser
by the way,
crashed.
what's EA Sports FC 25? I mean, usually there's like FIFA 2025, but that's not what this looks like.
Huh? FC 25? Not sure.
I mean, you'd think FIFA 25, no?
Yeah. Hmm. FC 25.
I'm trying to see for a second. Have they changed it that it's no longer FIFA?
Maybe they don't have the branding that they can use now.
Oh,
Football
that is.
club? Maybe is what that stands
Do they
for.
no longer have like the ability?
Yeah. Oh, someone, Cosgrove in the chat says EA wouldn't pay them for the FIFA license. So,
Wow. You know,
yeah.
I understand, but for so many years it was like FIFA, you know,
Mhm.
that's the
Oh,
brand of the
yeah.
game already. So, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna be fine. It's just kind of, you know, it's confusing for people who actually played it for so many years under FIFA. Like I knew what FIFA was. I wonder what year they started changing it. When did they change it?
Hmm. Malachi D. Wildman says Football Copa or Foot Cup. Hmm. Yeah, not sure when they moved away from the FIFA name.
I feel like I'm out of the loop that
Yeah.
I didn't even know this and I'm ashamed.
I've never been one that been
Okay,
much for
first of all,
sports games.
FIFA 22 is still called FIFA.
Yeah.
So let's
Huh.
see if FIFA 23 is FIFA 23. Because, yeah, FIFA 23 is still FIFA 23. And then when we do FIFA 24, that's where it starts.
FC
So okay,
24,
so
yeah.
first of all, I don't feel like such an idiot
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
more recent. It's more recent because
yeah.
that it would be like not FIFA and I wouldn't know. It would have to be something more recent. I'm still ashamed that I didn't know, but I think that I forgive myself a bit more now. I get it though.
Yeah,
So they
of
cannot.
all the sports things, it would be either driving or, believe it or not, I actually love, playing, golf, video game golf.
But you know,
It's relaxing.
I like FIFA. I used to like playing FIFA, just to be honest. Yeah, driving
Yeah.
is pretty cool too.
Yeah, enjoy a driving sim. Let's see, best
But
multiplayer,
Helldivers too.
Helldivers. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
no
people love
surprise
that
there.
game.
That one's been a big
Best
winner.
adaptation, Fallout. Okay.
So adaptation as in
Oh, a video
film
game,
made from a
whatever.
video game, yeah.
What were the Arcane,
Arcane,
Knuckles?
Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon,
Yeah, I
and Tomb
watched the
Raider.
Knuckles one. Arcane, I wanted to watch, but then people told me the second season is bad, so now
Yeah,
I don't know what to do.
if you just watch the first season and just forget that the second season ever exists, kinda like, The Matrix. Just watch the first movie, just forget that the rest even exists,
If I just watched
and,
the first season and never dealt with it again, it would be good.
yeah, the first season's really well told, the animation's brilliant. The second season, the animation is still great, but the story just goes like, you get one episode that moves at a snail's pace and nothing is happening. Then next episode, all sorts of crazy stuff's happening. You can barely even keep up with it. And then the story is just weird. The characters don't act the same as they did in the first series. It's just, yeah, it's a sad missed opportunity because the
M
first season is really, really well done.
Most anticipated game, I think that's a weird award, honestly. 'Cause
Wow. Yeah, this is not one I'm anticipating.
what, Grand Theft Auto? You think it's
Oh,
gonna
no.
be sort of, sorry,
It
it's gonna be
I
woke?
I I don't like the word woke, but this is gonna be woke AF, okay?
I have a
It
feeling
is
you're
gonna
right.
be a disaster. Oh, there's been a lot of news very recently that has, pointed out there's a whole bunch of DEI stuff going on at Rockstar Games, like mandatory trainings, all sorts of other stuff that's happening, people that have left, people that are there. It's gonna be the first game with a female protagonist, and there's been some other screenshots and some other stuff that have been coming out that indicating maybe there's going to be some other things like Transformers you'll have to deal with in the game, and not Optimus Prime. That might actually be cool in a Grand Theft Auto game, but different kind of Transformers. I honestly, of these, Death Stranding 2 is the one I would be looking forward to the most. The first Death Stranding, I mean, it's hilarious. I don't know if you heard of, Death Stranding. A lot of people
Haven't no.
a lot of people laugh it off as a walking simulator because your character, like, basically, you spend half the time just hauling crates around from place to place, but it had actually a fascinating story, and the gameplay was just compelling. Like, yeah, I'm walking from here to there, but I'm really, really interested in getting from here to there. So it was a really, really well made game, and I'm fascinated to see what Kojima's going to do with the second one. But um,
Well, I don't
so,
know enough about it, but it seems
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Content
but
creator of the year.
it's decidedly wild and bizarre, like everything that Kojima makes, but it's still
What is
interesting.
this? What is this nonsense? So this content.
Content creator of the year, Queso.
I feel like these things are like I don't trust it at all because
Yeah,
like I'm sure there's people, real people that do content creation, and they're never
yeah,
going to be nominated by the likes of the people doing this.
yeah, yeah,
Nothing personal, but I don't trust this category at all.
yeah.
Best
Best
esports
esports, League of
game,
Legends. Yeah, it does really well in the esports area. Um,
best
best
esports
esports
athlete.
athlete. Faker. I've heard the name. I don't necessarily know what it is that they play, but
You know, I'm going to
yeah,
tell you a little secret, Professor. You know, some people like sitting around and watching other people play video games.
yeah,
I usually don't.
No, neither do I.
Like, I feel like either I'm playing or leave me alone. Like, I don't
Yeah,
wanna see
exactly.
you play around. I
Yeah,
wanna play. Like, I am the one that can play. I don't need your jokes. I don't need to talk to me while you play. You can go do whatever you want. Now, I'm not hating if somebody does that. I'm
yeah.
just saying that, like, I wanna play. I don't wanna, usually watch other people play.
Yeah, no, my son can sit and watch people play Minecraft or all this stuff, like, for hours, and I'm like, "Don't you, like, wanna play yourself? Like, don't you wanna, like, go do the
We live
thing
in
on your
strange
your
times.
own?" But, yeah, I don't know. It's just some people, they enjoy watching the content creators doing the weird stuff and talking the whole time, and, yeah, no, I've never been able to really like, if it's somebody that I know, like, I've watched, like, Dark Hour, I've watched him do some gameplays online and stuff, but it's more that I'm there with Dark Hour with him playing a game than it is me watching him play the game, you know? So, I
I
don't know.
understand.
It's but, no, I'm with you, Price. I've never been one to just wanna sit around and watch somebody else play the game. I want to play the game myself. I wanna make the choices. I wanna decide where I'm going and what I'm doing rather than sitting around watching somebody else do it, but, uh so
Well,
every
best
to each their own, I guess. Yeah, esports team, T1,
doesn't mean
League
anything
of
to me. I
Legends.
really like I said, it's the same thing as the other thing. I don't really like seeing other
Yeah,
people play. I
yeah.
don't care about them.
I've looked a little bit into the esports stuff. It's not something I follow very closely, but yeah. And then the last award there was the what do they call it? The player's voice
I don't
that,
know. I
that
mean, it
got their
doesn't say
overall
anything.
win.
It's like,
Yeah, I think that's the player's voice award.
no,
Yeah,
it's I mean, when I click on it, it says nothing. I don't know if it was a Player's Voice Awards, but it doesn't say anything.
yeah. If you go back to all categories, the if you scroll all the way down, yeah, player's voice, view winner. This is well, uh, yeah, that's
I
weird.
see. What does it
Yeah,
mean, Player's Voice? What do
I
they
think
mean
that's
by
just
that?
I think that was just the game. You could vote in the for the game, whatever, and so this is the one that was just only players got to vote on this,
So
and
basically, I only played one
yeah,
game this year. It's this one, and this is the good one. That's what I
yeah.
understand. I
There you
did
go.
well. I did
Yeah,
well. I didn't
excellent
need
choice,
I
Price.
didn't need to be an expert. Didn't need any of these like categories or people or things or anything. I just worked based on my instinct, and it turns out that I played the game that everybody
There
likes.
you go.
So I feel good about myself. Sorry that I'm tooting my own horn, but in this
No.
case, I feel like I deserve it this time, especially because I kind of am not in the loop these days, and this
Yeah,
looked like an interesting game. Feel good about that.
yeah. Well, these days I end up playing mostly, like, old stuff that's this off of my off of my list from a long time ago. Still, like, the newest game that I have played was that, Astrobot, and that was more of a it was I was looking for something that I could play, like, with my kids in the room. So, needed a more family-friendly game, so
I
I
understand.
picked that one up, yeah. But it's very fun. It's a really well-made game. It's very interesting. They got lots of fun different mechanics with it too. Got sort of the hook of the game is you're not it's a platformer, you're moving around with your regular character, but with
Emberson M said Price missed out playing out. I played Black Myth Wukong. I feel
yeah.
really good about my choice. I didn't have a lot of time, and I'm like, why don't I play this game? And I feel like at least I did something good.
Yep, yep.
But
You chose well.
I guess now, since I had to go outside and come back, it deleted a lot of the messages. Maybe you
Yeah.
can help so we can do some shout outs for people and just kind of,
Well, let's see
yeah.
what we can get here. Mine reset halfway through as well, so
So
we'll get who
whatever
we
you can
can.
find.
But it looks we haven't had too much chat over in Rumble, so I've still got my Rumble window open. Looks like let's see, Pyromancer, Kivo 1961, Empress in him, Dude Bro, Seth 420, John Wickenhouse. Let's see, Eraserhead. Steve Mod 52, Senpai 76, I think I said, yeah, dude, bro, Seth 420. Coffee Crew Mocha. Okay. I think promoting something there, but that's okay. At least they weren't posting links. If you come here and promote whatever, that's fine. If you're not posting links, I'm not going to get too upset. Let's see. Folsom Lockdown. It looks like that was just about everybody there that joined us on Rumble. So let's see. Jay Goodwin, Superior Nav, Phantom Outsider, Marks 47, Malachi D. Wildman, The Dead Man, and of course, thank you again for the support this evening, The Dead Man, for those super chats. Let's see, Jonathan Conroy, Caleb Levine, The Dad Abides, Nursor 85, Cosgrove, Tim Hayes, Marla Cherendoff, 6.
It was
I'm
great
glad
seeing
this
Six here.
clicks. I'm glad to be here. We're glad to have you here, 6. Let's see if I missed anybody.
6 and I are close
Let's
again,
see.
apparently.
I think I said Joshua Calkins.
Joshua Calkins is cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
Conroy, Cosgrove. Yeah, I think just about the same. Poker Ace 6666. Rob Nudd Scoobla. And yeah, I think that's everybody. Sorry if we missed anybody because of our because of our browser issues and
Yeah,
having
a
to
lot of
reset
strange
there, but
things.
those kind of things happen. We're glad to see you all here again. If you haven't yet, if you don't mind giving us that thumbs up, just to like, and if you want to leave a comment afterwards, that's also very helpful. And we just appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess on that wonderful note, we could maybe say goodbye.
Yeah, that ought to do it for tonight.
And thank you so much, Professor. I feel like
No.
today you really you took this entire operation on your back today. Hopefully, I
Well.
just didn't get in your way.
Well, you needed a little nap in there, so
Exactly.
I filled in as best I could.
No, it was
Always
good.
great
It
to
was
join
good.
you. Always great to join you here, Price.
Always great to hang out with you, man, and really like what we do here. And it's nice to see people hanging out with us, and people frequently come back and hang out with us. So yeah, make sure that you're subscribed to and following Professor R2, whether it's on X or Rumble or YouTube or anywhere else. And yeah, and I'm Price of Reason, and this has been really nice to hang out with everybody here. You all have a great night, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care.
Bye.